Chapter 268. It was originally a complete mask, but now it had become a broken mask. Suyin did not think that it was Long Xian Li's doing. Maybe she did it on purpose. What does that mean? Suyun's mind was filled with suspicions. After thinking about it, he decided to observe. He knew Prince Fu Su. Maybe this lady was also from the Su family. After Prince Fu Su greeted everyone, he squeezed out of the crowd and walked out of the city. Suyun immediately followed. What was surprising was that there was a large group of purple-horned beasts waiting outside the city, with 2 Qilin beasts leading. Prince Fu Su and the lady wearing the mask each rode on one of the Qilin beasts and immediately flew away. Seeing that, Suyun ran a few steps, and while no one was paying attention, he immediately threw out his flying sword to chase. He flew in the air, looking down at the people below. Then, not long after, the group entered the forest. He immediately descended his flying sword and entered the forest, only to see that the people below had already disappeared, leaving behind a bit of profound spirit qi in the air. Were we discovered? Suyun frowned, suspicions surfacing in his mind. Prince Fu Su's cultivation was not low. Maybe he had already sensed his presence. Although he could rely on the remnant profound spirit qi in the air to quickly find them. But if the other party sensed him, then it would be meaningless, and the other party would definitely be on guard against him. Seeing the direction that Prince Fu Su and the rest were heading, they seemed to be heading straight to Qin Creek. The mountain river list was about to start, and he was a seated participant. There was no need for him to stay in such a small border city. Suyun landed and looked around. Shaking his head, he kept his sword back into its sheath and went back the way he came. Roar! Just as he was about to leave the forest, suddenly, a heart-wrenching beast roar came out from behind. Following that, the ground trembled as a few trees were struck by something, causing dust to fly, sand and stones to fly everywhere. Suyun was startled. He raised his head to look behind, only to see a gigantic, fierce beast rushing out from the depths of the forest. The fierce beast had a green face and sharp fangs, with a triangular head. It was shaped like a Tao Tai. It was extremely terrifying, just that its entire body was covered in wounds, its qi weak, as though it had gone through an intense battle. It stared at Suyun, and with a thunderous roar, it rushed towards him crazily. Suyun snorted, but he was not afraid. After using the heavenly scale divine eye to see through his opponent's cultivation, he unsheathed the engraved dragon blade and slashed at him. The engraved dragon blade transformed into a bright, lightning aura, slashing forward. Activating the monarch occult force, 7 types of strong and dense profound spirit qi converged to form a 7-color divine light that enveloped the sword body. With an unstoppable force, it struck towards the fierce beast. The fierce beast was incomparably furious. It lowered its head and used its triangular control to resist the engraved dragon blade. However, the engraved dragon blade was like an unstoppable divine sword. The moment the tip of the sword touched the triangle, it easily shattered it. Roar! The triangle was broken. The fierce beast was indescribably frightened, but its survival instincts made it give it a try. It opened its mouth and spat out a gigantic ball of light towards Suyun. So. The engraved dragon blade suddenly spun around and sliced at the ball of light in an arc, instantly shattering it. Then, it fiercely rushed towards the vicious beast's head. Poochie! The speed of the sharp sword was ridiculously fast. The fierce beast was unable to react in time and was instantly pierced through its neck by the engraved dragon blade. Its huge body suddenly stopped moving. Bang! The fierce beast's head fell to the ground, creating a large amount of dust. The place where its neck was cut off spat out a shocking amount of blood, spraying into the sky. Immediately, the sky started to rain blood. It was dead. His movements were clean and efficient. Suyun walked over and used his sword to dig out the spirit nucleus of the fierce beast. He quickly took care of the body of the fierce beast and kept the pile of materials into his storage ring. Then, he turned to leave. Clipchamp. But just at that moment, an ear-piercing sound came out again. A sparkling and translucent sword suddenly shot out from the forest. Like a flying arrow, it pierced towards Su Yun's heart. So accurate. Su Yun frowned and casually swung the engraved dragon blade. Clang! The sword was immediately sent flying. It spun a few rounds in the air before stabbing into the ground not far away. Who is it? Su Yun vigilantly looked around and bellowed. At this time, the sound of horse hooves could be heard coming from the depths of the forest. Then, a row of carriages approached. The carriages were lined with guards on both sides. Flags with golden phoenixes printed on them fluttered in the wind. Gazing at the carriages, one could see an indistinct figure behind the curtains. But the sword was not placed by the beautiful figure. Instead, it was placed by a young lady beside the carriage. She was dressed in armor and wielding a flaming long blade. The young lady wielded the long blade in one hand and walked forward. She pulled out the sparkling sword from the ground. Her eyes were like blades as she fiercely stared at Su Yun and shouted, "You dog! You actually dare to steal our young Miss Prey? You don't want to live anymore? Quickly hand over the materials and kneel in front of our young miss to admit your mistake. Otherwise, I will take your dog life." "Your young miss?" Su Yun glanced at the carriage frame, then asked sinisterly, "What is it? Audacious! You dare to insult our young miss." The young lady was extremely angry. She angrily shouted and leapt towards Su Yun. With a long sword and a flaming blade, she directly slashed towards Su Yun. Using dual weapons? You think I don't know how? Su Yun released the death sword on his back, but did not pull it out of its sheath. With one hand holding the engraved dragon blade and the other holding the death sword, he blocked the sword and blade. The young lady's strength was extremely strong, especially the hand holding the blade. It was extremely tyrannical. But the hand holding the sword was extremely nimble and agile, as though it was the hands of two people. But Su Yun, who possessed the monarch occult force, his strength was even more astonishing. After the 3 swords and 1 blade clashed, the young lady was forced to retreat. She looked at Su Yun in shock, but before she could think, Su Yun stepped forward. The engraved dragon blade took the head and the death sword took the abdomen. The 2 swords were as agile as lightning, attacking at the same time, like 2 raging dragons. Su Yun clenched his fists tightly and unleashed his greatest strength. Seeing that, the young lady opened her eyes wide and anxiously raised her blade and sword to block. But clang! Although the blade and sword were successfully blocked, the overwhelming power directly followed the blade and sword and acted on the young lady's body. The young lady's body trembled and flew out, crashing into a few trees and fiercely falling to the ground. Looking at the armor on her body, there were actually many cracks. What astonishing power! The young lady tried her best to stand up, but before she could do so, she opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. "Asshole!" The young lady's face was filled with anger, her eyes filled with unwillingness. Su Yun glanced at the young lady, then looked at the carriage frame, shook his head, and turned to leave. Good cultivation, good power, powerful. Just then, a clear and melodious sound came out from the carriage frame. Su Yun looked at the carriage frame and saw the curtains of the carriage being pulled open by the servant beside. Following that, a lady dressed in black robes with a startled bird imprint walked out. Looking at her appearance, she looked to be around 20 years old. She had bright eyes and white teeth. Her skin was as white as snow, and her eyes were filled with heroic spirit, with an indescribable tyranny in the depths of her pupils. Her long hair was as black as ink, tied up in a high bun, with a ponytail hanging down to her waist, swaying with the wind. The lady was beautiful, but her temperament was even more unique, completely different from the lady Su Yun had seen before. This temperament was hard to describe. "I don't know you. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving." He caressed his mask. "Imperial sword technique. Are you from the Immortal Sword sect?" The lady's bright eyes quickly swept across Su Yun and asked. Her voice was sweet and pleasant to listen to. Su Yun did not say a word, turned, and was about to leave. So rude. Seeing that, the servant beside the lady could not help but mutter. The lady was not angry. She waved her hand and took out a dark green round ball from her storage ring. Holding it in her slender snow-white hands, she stared at Su Yun. You killed the prey that I was chasing, took away its benefits, and even rewarded my personal servant. Don't tell me you want to leave just like that. Aren't you looking down on me a little too much? Look down on me? Su Yun turned his head to look at her and asked, I say, who the hell are you? You young miss. Why are you being polite with him? Just kill him and be done with it. When have I ever seen such a rude person? Even you don't know him. Does such a person deserve to live in this world? The young lady who was holding onto the blade and sword stood up, caressing her aching chest, and said angrily, What kind of logic is that? If you don't know your young miss, you don't deserve to live in this world? Isn't that a typical self-centered mentality? Do you think that the world revolves around you? Su Yun shook his head. Forgive me for not accompanying you. With that, he sped up and left. Don't go. At this moment, the black-clothed woman who held the jade green ball shouted loudly, and she suddenly transformed into a ray of light that shot over while filled with battle intent. The strange battle intent was actually like a mountain that shattered the trees and the surroundings. Su Yun frowned, suddenly turned around, and slashed horizontally, releasing a dense, profound spirit chi through the sword tip. However, to everyone's surprise, this woman actually forcefully withstood the sword chi that was released and directly attacked. She smashed the sword chi, and the dark green ball in her hand began to glow. Then, it rapidly changed, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a thick dark green blade, which she swung with her slender arm. Clang! The death sword was unsheathed, blocking horizontally. The green blade struck the sword sheath. The lady frowned. Holding onto the blade with both hands, she pushed her strength to the limit. Su Yun's legs sunk a little, but he did not feel that it was too strenuous. His left hand released the death sword hilt, touched the sword sheath, and once again took out the engraved dragon blade. Like a poisonous snake, he stabbed towards the lady's abdomen. Wung, 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 the sword edge trembled, releasing a terrifying sound. Then, the lady did not panic. She retreated a few steps, and the green blade in her hand started to glow again, changing. In the blink of an eye, the green blade actually transformed into a round shield, blocking the two swords. Su Yun was startled. The shield started to glow again, and in the blink of an eye, it transformed into a long spear. The lady held onto the spear with both hands, releasing a killing intent. The spear tip rolled up a myriad of chi, at least containing true divine spirit chi and swift wind spirit chi, as fast as an eagle, as fierce as a tiger. Brilliant. What treasure is this? Su Yun retreated a few steps, dodging the spear. He swung both swords, releasing his profound spirit chi, and a large amount of sword chi flew towards the lady. The woman swayed again, and her spear turned into a shield. Her petite body hid behind the shield, blocking the sword chi. She then leapt into the air, and her weapon changed again, turning into a jade-green longbow. She drew the bow and shot out 7 green arrows. Su Yun was annoyed. He snorted, did not dodge anymore, and rushed forward. He raised both of his swords and danced, the sword tip slashing towards the incoming arrows, breaking them all. Then he rushed to the front of the lady. The weapon in the lady's hand changed again. This time it became a small, exquisite dagger, fiercely thrusting towards Su Yun's heart. But Su Yun suddenly released the death sword and engraved dragon blade, his hands fiercely grabbing onto the lady's slender and smooth hands. Oh! The lady was startled, her eyes filled with suspicion. But at this moment, Su Yun's skin released a large amount of chi, like a spider web. It instantly spread out, piercing through the lady's vital points. So the death sword and engraved dragon blade that left his hands suddenly struck into the trajectory of the chi, fiercely thrusting towards the lady's vital points. Storm Sword Technique. Chapter 269. What? The woman's eyes narrowed. She had not expected this man's swordsmanship to be so strange. It had completely exceeded her understanding of swordsmanship. In a hurry, the woman stopped her attack on Su Yun and let go of the dagger in her hand. The dagger glowed again, and then turned into a viscous liquid, quickly smashing into the woman's exquisite and curvaceous body, crazily spreading. In a short while, it had completely enveloped the woman's entire body, like a layer of sealed armor, not leaving a single gap. Clang, 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 clang. When the death sword and engraved dragon blade slashed at it, they only left shallow marks and were unable to break it. Seeing that, Su Yun was not discouraged. Instead, a trace of killing intent flashed past his eyes, and he did not hold back anymore. Activating the monarch occult force, the pure divine spirit chi surged out from his spirit essences like a wave, passing through the chi orbits to the death sword and engraved dragon blade. The two swords suddenly released their chi, releasing an ominous glint, and fiercely smashed towards the lady. Clang, clang. The two swords pierced through. Crack. The armor was pierced through, and the pure divine spirit chi crazily tore in all directions. However, the woman's reaction was extremely fast. Almost at the same time that the two swords attacked, she left the green armor and tried to retreat. However, as soon as she did, a large foot flew over and kicked her in the stomach. Bang! The woman was caught off guard, and her lower abdomen was wounded. She fell from the sky like a kite with a broken string. She hurriedly somersaulted in the air and landed on her feet. However, the remaining force in her abdomen had yet to dissipate. She retreated repeatedly and almost fell. It took her a while to stabilize her body. "Miss!" The guards and maids behind him cried out and rushed over. The woman raised her hands, signaling everyone not to act rashly. "Your strength is not bad. Unfortunately, you are still no match for me." Su Yin descended from the sky and glanced at the lady. "Not your match." The woman's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. She said in a low voice, "We haven't decided the victor between us yet." Again, not interested anymore. Su Yin caught the strong fighting intent in the lady's eyes, but he purposely avoided the battle. He did not kill the fierce beast on purpose, but this group of people were unreasonable and killed him the moment they saw him. How could he feel comfortable? Now that this woman wanted to fight with him, he naturally wouldn't let her have her way. With that said, Su Yin threw the death sword into the air, stepped on it, and left. "Don't go. Fight me." The lady shouted and wanted to give chase, but Su Yun's speed was ridiculously fast, and in the blink of an eye, he left the forest and flew away. Mississippi, the girl holding the sword, ran over and said, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." The lady looked in the direction that Su Yun left in, holding the dark green ball in her hand tightly. She said, "Xiao Shui, go and find out who this person is. You must find out his identity." "Miss, he's just an ignorant person who overestimates himself. We don't have to bother with him. You don't even know the title of Valkyrie. With one look, I can tell you're just a country bumpkin. So what if I'm from the countryside?" "Xiao Shui, don't judge people by their birth. All living things are equal. Goddess of martial arts is just a title given to me by others. It's nothing. This person's strength is not ordinary, and his sword skills are extraordinary. I was careless and fell into his trap. Now, I only hope that he can fight me again so that I won't have any regrets." The lady said gently, although her tone was calm, but the passion in her words was extremely obvious. The girl holding the sword and blade, called Xiao Shui, was annoyed. She pouted and said, "Miss, you're a good person, just that you're too obsessed with martial arts. If Miss wants to kill him, it's easy. He's so rude. Why are you still being polite to him? From his voice and actions, he doesn't seem to be old. Maybe he's also a participant in the Mountain River list. What Mountain River list participant? Miss can definitely defeat all of them." "All right, don't say any more." The lady interrupted Xiao Shui, then turned and walked back to her carriage. "Go to Chin Creek." Xiao Shui opened her mouth and sighed. "Sigh, yes, Mrs. Returning back to the tavern in the city, Su Yin took a deep breath. The treasure in the lady's hands was extremely strange. It could change into a sword, a blade, a spear, and even a big shield and armor. What kind of treasure was that? Su Yin was suspicious, but what made him even more surprised was that the lady was actually proficient in using every single weapon. Blades, spears, rods, she seemed to be proficient in everything. How could an ordinary person use so many weapons? Not simple. Is she also here to participate in the Mountain River list? Su Yun's eyes flashed with a trace of passion. Seems like the Mountain River list competition is something worth looking forward to. Brother Wu Yun, are you out? Just then, a clear voice came out from the stairs leading to the second floor of the tavern. Su Yun turned to look and saw Hong Yin and the rest walking down the stairs. Yes, I just went out for a stroll. Su Yun laughed. Coincidentally, we're preparing to go to the treasure pavilions in the city to see if there are any things that we can use. We can buy them together and prepare for the Mountain River list. Luo Xiao Miao said, Brother Wu Yun, let's go together. Wang Zhongshan walked down from behind and said, seeing that everyone had the same intention, Su Yun did not reject them, and everyone went out together. Just that, in front of the biggest treasure pavilion in the city, it was already packed with people. The people entering and exiting the place seemed to be squeezing the door open. Everyone finally entered the treasure pavilion with great difficulty, and after looking around, they realized that the majority of the goods were sold out, and the things that could be used were few and far between. Everyone plundered a few, but felt that it was boring and decided to leave. Su Yun then went to sell the parts of the fierce beast that he had obtained from his storage ring to the treasure pavilion, and earned quite a bit of spirit coins. There's nothing good. Let's go back and pack up and set off for Qin Creek, Shen Hao said weakly. Everyone did not have any objections and walked along the bustling streets, heading back to the tavern. Just then, a ray of light suddenly swept past the sky above the city. A large number of flying swords flew in the sky like rays of light, and on every flying sword stood a person dressed in luxurious Blade Master clothes, looking extremely confident and at ease. Quickly look, people from the Immortal Sword sect. The spirit cultivators in the city all raised their heads to look, exclaiming out, TSK, TSK, TSK. Flying swords is so damn cool. If we knew how to do that, why would we ride on the purple horned beast? Shen Hao said enviously. There's nothing to be envious of. The Immortal Sword sect's imperial sword technique is unparalleled. Only they know it. Wang Zhongshan shook his head. Sigh, this brother, you're wrong, who said that only the Immortal Sword sect knows the imperial sword technique. Didn't the Sword Lord also use the imperial sword technique? And compared to the Sword Lord, the Immortal Sword sect's imperial sword technique pales in comparison. A pity that the Sword Lord is not here. If not, how would the Immortal Sword sect be able to fly above our heads? A person by the side said, Sword Lord. Wang Zhongshan frowned. Is that Limitless Sword Lord? Of course, it's the Sword Lord. The person said, I know. Without waiting for the person to speak, Hong Yin excitedly said, I have a good understanding of Limitless Sword Lord. It is said that he is able to control over 1,000 swords. His power is boundless, and his strength is shocking. On the day of the battle at Wushuangju Peak, he killed the great clan elder of the Immortal Sword sect, Shun Hong, and the great clan elder of the Su family. I'm afraid that with his strength, even if he were to face the Immortal Sword sect leader, he would not be afraid. Also, I heard that after the battle at Wushuangju Peak, he continuously challenged the various sect leaders of the Julian district and never tasted defeat. His strength is unparalleled, causing the various sect leaders to panic, and that led to the matter at Blossom Heart Valley. Hong Yin was like a chatterbox that was opened by someone. She was unable to stop, excitedly talking about Limitless Sword Lord's achievements. A few people beside her who had only heard of it, but were not familiar with it, immediately walked over and listened to Hong Yan's words, and would occasionally exclaim out along with her exploding achievements. Wang Zhongshan and the rest listened with great interest. While Su Yun was sweating profusely, Hong Yin was completely mythologizing him. There were many things that even he did not know. I heard that the Sword Lord is very young, right? Just then, Luo Xiao Miao suddenly asked. Hong Yin hesitated for a moment, then nodded her head. Yes, I heard that he is called Su Yun and is an outer sect disciple of the Su family. Outer sect disciple? Luo Xiao Miao thought for a moment, then said, then he definitely hasn't cultivated for 30 years. This, probably. Why didn't the seeded participant of the Mountain River list choose him? Sigh. Hong Yin sighed and said, After the battle at Blossom Heart Valley, no one knew where Sword Lord went, and the people of the Mountain River List are unable to contact him. Furthermore, some people say that he is related to the demonic Tao, and some even say that he is already dead. No one knows what happened to him, but just based on these points, he cannot be ranked in the Mountain River List. Alright, the most important thing is some people think that the reason why he was able to do so many earth-shattering things was completely because of his treasures. Without treasures, he would not have much strength. So many people are against him becoming a seated participant. Su Yun. So it's like that. Forget it. Forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. Everyone, let's go. Luo Xiao Miao shook his head and did not think about it anymore. Everyone stopped talking and increased their pace, rushing back to the tavern. After returning to the tavern and tidying up, they all took out their purple-horned beasts and directly flew out of the city, heading towards the center of the One Xian region, Qin Creek. Along the way, they could see all sorts of spirit cultivators. There were immortal sword sect flying swords, ordinary spirit cultivators riding on purple-horned beasts and unicorn beasts, and there were even some special sects like the Great Void Temple riding gourds, the Qing Shan sect riding the wind, the sky gazing pavilion leaping 1,000 li, etc. At this moment, all the spirit cultivators from all over the place rushed over. Regardless of whether they were from sects or rogue cultivators, all of them were gathered at Qin Creek. No one knew what kind of opponents were waiting for them, but to be able to go to Qin Creek was already a proof of strength. Su Yin followed the group and continued to move forward, his gaze moving left and right, sizing up all the spirit cultivators he met along the way. "Sai, big brother Wu Yun, can I ask you a question?" Just then, Hong Yin, who was walking in front, suddenly slowed down and moved to Su Yun's side. "What?" Su Yun retracted his gaze and looked at Hong Yin strangely. Hong Yin pointed to the blood-red, immortal, mystical scarlet blood sword on Su Yun's back and asked, "What is this sword used for? I have never seen you use it before." "This sword?" Su Yun was speechless for a few seconds, then laughed awkwardly. "I usually don't use it, and it is very difficult for me to control it now." "It's a treasure, right?" "Big brother Wu Yun, you are actually able to use so many swords at the same time. Your sword techniques must be very powerful, right?" Just SOSO. Alright, when I saw the Immortal Sword Sect people just now, why didn't you greet them? Speaking of which, didn't the Immortal Sword Sect people move together? Hong Yin asked again. Su Yin continued to laugh awkwardly. He did not know how to reply, but his eyebrows were already frowning. Everything was fine. Why did Hong Yin suddenly ask so many questions? "We're here at Qin Creek." Just at that moment, a voice came out from the front. Chapter 270. Everyone's mind trembled, and all of them turned to look ahead. In front of them was a 6 m tall, gigantic stone tablet. On top of the stone tablet were the words, Qin Creek. Seeing that, everyone was elated. They immediately increased their pace and rushed in. Hong Yan's attention was diverted, and she did not continue to question Su Yun. Su Yun naturally heaved a sigh of relief. The group of them hurriedly increased their speed and quickly reached their destination. Qin Creek was located in the center of the One Xian region. The One Xian region was the highest place in the north, and it was said that it was the closest to the sky, and by standing on top of Qin Creek, one could extend their hand and touch the blue sky. Of course, it was just a saying. Extending one's hand would definitely not be able to touch the blue sky. Even if one stood on tiptoe, they would not be able to touch it. The place was filled with luxuriant grass, with mountains and rivers on both sides, and below the mountains was a jade river that flowed smoothly. When people stepped into Qin Creek, they could see a large number of spirit beasts leaping about. There was a pine tree with 3 tails, a deer with 9 colored patterns on its body, and a snow-white horse. Along the way, it caused people's eyes to be dazzled. The scenery was beautiful. The place was like a paradise on earth. I heard that there are no sects stationed in Qin Creek. Is that true? Su Yin retracted his gaze from the beautiful scenery and asked Wang Zhongshan, who was in front. That's right. Wang Zhongshan nodded his head. Qin Creek is a place where many outstanding people live and can be said to be one of the few paradise places in the Sky Marshall continent. and is the most sacred place. Here, no sects are allowed to enter, and no one is allowed to touch this place. Oh, who set that rule? The Cheen Creek protectors, and also the people who set the Mountain River list. They think that the secular sects are too vicious and blinded by benefits, and will bring disgrace to this pure land. The Cheen Creek protector, Su Yun, was startled for a moment. He muttered, then asked, "Then why do they want to organize the Mountain River list?" "They think that talented people will not bring disgrace to this pure land." What bullshit logic. Shun Hao, who was at the side, could not help but laugh out loud. After passing through the narrow and winding path, they arrived at a wide and spacious flatland. The flatland was filled with inch-long green grass, and trees stood in great numbers, and on the flatland there were many pavilions and houses. The commoners of Cheen Creek lived there. There were no cities or towns in Cheen Creek, and everyone lived wherever they wanted. Although it was not Su Yun's first time here, he was not very familiar with the place. He watched as Wang Zhongshan led the group around, and after half a day, they arrived at a mystical valley in the depths of Cheen Creek. The valley was not tall, but it was extremely large. Even from the outside, one could see that there was a huge statue standing within the Cheen Valley if one stood outside. The statue was as large as a mountain, almost reaching into the clouds. It was majestic and magnificent, with a dragon head and a human body draped in a long robe, looking like the legendary Dragon King. He held a slender sword with both hands, and his bright dragon eyes looked forward, giving off a kind of majestic aura that could swallow mountains and rivers. "This is the famous Cheen Creek Dragon King's high ground," Wang Zhongshan said as he walked in front. A group of people rushed towards the dragon statue. As they approached the entrance of the valley, they could see a large number of people wearing snow-white masks and long snow-white robes. They were not equipped with blades or swords and did not have any profound spirit chi on them. They stood at the two sides of the Cheen Valley, their gazes seriously sweeping across every single person. And at the entrance of the valley, there was a man-made, gigantic wooden door. The four sides of the door were engraved with large amounts of thin vine-like vein patterns. All of these patterns released light auras, causing the surroundings to shine with different colors. Faintly, one could see some small mystical spirits swaying in the light auras. Wang Zhongshan led the group and walked to the door and cupped his hands towards the white-robed masked man standing in front of the door. "I am Wang Zhongshan, from the Long Ao Nation Sky Dragon City's Wang family. These are the talents that I have recommended. This time, we are here to participate in the Mountain River List competition." Wang Zhongshan took out a round white order badge from his storage ring and handed it over. The white-robed masked man held onto the order badge and looked at it carefully for a moment, then nodded his head. "The order badge is real, Wang Xiuyu. The Mountain River List gathers all the heroes under the heavens. There are many experts and strong martial artists. I hope that all of you will be able to shine in the Mountain River List competition and strive for a good result. All right, everyone, follow the path on the left and find Hui Yuan. Register with him, and he will arrange a good place for all of you to train. There are still 2 days before the Mountain River List competition. All of you can rest there." "Oh, thank you, senior brother. Cheen Creek does not have any sects, and we're not senior brothers. Just call us cultivators. Before going, all of you should first take a badge." With that, one of the white-robed masked men took out a few order badges from somewhere and gave them to Wang Zhongshan and the rest. Wang Zhongshan distributed the order badges to everyone. Suyin also received one. He took it out and looked at it. It was an ordinary-looking order badge, and on top of it was engraved a shallow insect word. "What does that mean?" Suyin asked curiously. "Big brother Wu Yin doesn't even know this? Since you are here to participate in the Mountain River List competition, you should at least understand the basic rules here." Hong Yin said, "The Mountain River List competition is carried out using a ladder system. At the start, everyone will be part of the insect group, and then slowly rise through the battles with their opponents. There are a total of 7 steps, and only those who enter the final step will have the qualifications to participate in the final competition with the seeded participants." 7 steps? Yes, in order it is insect, snake, wolf, eagle, elephant, lion, and dragon. So it is like that. Su Yun nodded his head and hung the order badge on his waist. The remaining guards and purple horn beasts were not allowed to enter the valley and had to wait outside Sheen Creek. Everyone entered the valley. Following the instructions of the white-clothed and white-masked man, they found a man named Hui Yuan, who was also wearing a white cloak and a white mask. Hui Yuan registered everyone's information and verified it. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he led everyone away. These people are the personal protectors. All of them are dressed in white and wear white masks. To differentiate who is who, we can only see the name badge hanging on their waist. Wang Zhongshan said softly. Everyone nodded their heads. Everyone followed Hui Yuan in front of them. But what surprised them was that Hui Yuan did not lead them to the training grounds, but instead turned left and right and walked to a gigantic pond. At that moment, a large number of spirit cultivators from all over the world had gathered beside the pond. They surrounded the pond, and under the arrangement of the white-robed and white-masked cultivators, they entered the water one by one. Su Yun was suspicious. He looked at the pond. The water was extremely clear, bright, and pure, like a clean mirror. Even if a person entered the water, there would not be much dust. What is this place? Wang Zhongshan asked Hui Yuan. Pond of the Heart. Pond of the Heart. In a recent period of time, the Sky Martial Continent's spirit demons and demons have appeared frequently. And to ensure that the Mountain River List competition will proceed smoothly, every participant has to enter the Pond of the Heart to undergo a test. If the participant is a spirit demon, they will be detected by the Pond of the Heart, and the pond water will become turbid, and the 12 protectors around the Pond of the Heart will kill the spirit demon that is detected. Hui Yuan said. Hearing that, Su Yun's mind tensed up. There is such a procedure? There has never been such a procedure in the past, but it started from this year. Su Yun, his entire body was covered with evil spirit essences. The evil spirit chi was extremely tyrannical. How could the Pond of the Heart not sense it? He anxiously looked towards the Pond of the Heart and saw 12 spirit cultivators standing around the Pond of the Heart. They were like statues standing at the side of the pond without moving. Activating the heavenly scale divine, Ida check. Su Yun immediately sucked in a cold breath. 12 ninth stage spirit, soul, realm existences. He almost did not believe his own eyes. Since when were there so many ninth stage spirit, soul, realm cultivators? What kind of existences are the protectors of Sheen Creek? All right, everyone, please enter the Pond of the Heart. After the test, I will bring everyone to a place to rest and cultivate. Hui Yuan stood at the side of the Pond of the Heart and spoke to Su Yun and the rest. Must I be tested? Su Yun took a deep breath and asked, if you have already reached the side of the Pond of the Heart and something happens, you will be disqualified and will be temporarily locked up, since not taking the test is a sign of guilt. Voila, just then, Wang Zhongshan and the rest had already entered the Pond of the Heart. As they entered the Pond of the Heart immediately started to ripple. The gurgling and translucent light leaked out from the Pond of the Heart, entering Wang Zhongshan's body. Wang Zhongshan immediately released a comfortable sound, and after a while, he entered the Pond of the Heart. I never thought that the Pond of the Heart would actually strengthen and stabilize the chi channels in my body. Is that a benefit? Wang Zhongshan was elated. That is indeed the effect of the Pond of the Heart, but everyone can only obtain this benefit the first time they enter the Pond of the Heart. So it's like that. This is truly a good thing. Wang Zhongshan sighed. Hearing that, how could Luo Xiao Miao and the rest remain calm? They anxiously entered the Pond of the Heart. Big brother Wu Yun, what are you doing? Quickly come down. Hong Yin, who had entered the Pond of the Heart, laughed and shouted at Su Yun. Su Yun frowned. He did not know what to say. This cultivator friend, do you have any difficulties? Hui Yuan, who was by the side, asked curiously. No difficulties at all. Then please enter the pond. Hui Yuan said. Su Yun nodded his head. His heart was beating extremely fast. He secretly looked to the sides, only to see that the 12 cultivators had unknowingly looked over. 12 pairs of eyes seemed to have frozen, staring at Su Yun in unison. I've attracted their attention. But if I enter the pond, won't the evil spirit essences on my body be exposed? Forget it. In the current situation, I can only take the opportunity when they are unprepared and quickly leave. Su Yin never thought that there would be such a segment. He breathed harshly and finally decided to leave, but before he left, he had to stabilize the 12 spirit cultivators. He stepped forward and walked towards the Pond of the Heart. He had already secretly touched the death sword on his back, accumulating power and preparing to leave. Just that whoosh. Half of his body entered the Pond of the Heart, but the water was still extremely clear, without any signs of turbidity. This, Su Yun was startled. He suddenly felt his chest burning up. The monarch occult force in his heart was completely activated. A large amount of profound spirit chi with spirit life. Chi surged towards the evil spirit essences in his body, covering them. Monarch occult force? Su Yun was shocked. Chapter 271. Don't worry. Su Yun was surprised, and was especially surprised by the power of the monarch occult force. He never thought that the monarch occult force would have such an effect. Hua Yuan glanced around, and seeing that there was nothing strange, he nodded. You have all passed the test of the Heart Pond. Now, I will lead you to the cultivation area and arrange a place for you to rest and recuperate during the competition. Thank you, Lord Hua. You're welcome. Just call me Hua Yuan. Hua Yuan nodded his head and turned to leave. But at this time, another group of people walked into the Heart Pond area. They were also led by a Xiuzha in white robes and a white mask as they slowly walked over. The two parties just happened to pass by each other. Oh, Wang Zhongshan and the others froze. Su Yun, who was walking at the back, was startled. Following their gaze, he saw Bei Xianming and the rest walking over. They were looking left and right, sizing up their surroundings as though they were extremely curious. When they noticed that someone was looking at them, they all looked up. Oh, isn't this Brother Wang? I never thought that all of you would actually be here. Bei Xianming looked at the group of people and immediately opened his fan and smiled. Your life is really tough. You actually didn't die. Not bad, not bad. Qi Wan, who was behind, laughed in disdain. Bitch, Hong, Yin said angrily. Little slut. Last time, I was merciful and didn't kill you, but now you're asking for a yard after being given an inch? Humph, you truly don't know what's good for you. Later on in the competition, be careful that I will tear your mouth apart. Qi Wan stared at Hong Yin. Do you think I'm afraid of fair and square fight? Ha ha, you really overestimate yourself. I'll teach you a lesson later. Qi Wan laughed complacently, her eyes filled with disdain. What did you say? A group of despicable and treacherous villains. You are not qualified to participate in the Mountain River list. Luo Xiaomiao roared. Not worthy? We're not worthy? Do you think a bunch of trash like you are worthy? Qi Wan retorted. Ha ha. Immediately, the people on Bei Xianming's side laughed out loud, their voices extremely ear-piercing. The faces of Wang Zhongshan and the others immediately turned the color of pig liver. But in the next second, Qi Wan's expression froze. Her eyes were slightly widened and her breathing was a little tight. She didn't know why, but she was slowly backing away. Bei Xianming looked towards the back of Wang Zhongshan's group. Behind them, a person wearing a mask and a pitch-black Blade Master outfit slowly walked out. He looked at the crowd and stepped forward, a trace of disgust reflected in his eyes under the mask. Big Brother Wu Yun. Hong Yin said happily. However, Su Yun slowly walked over and stood in front of everyone, his eyes filled with contempt and disdain. That's right, it was disdain. That was what Qi Wan and the rest had in their eyes. Are you done? Su Yun said slowly. If you're done talking, get out of the way. We're going over. Don't block the way. Su Yun's stature was tall and big, much taller than Bei Xianming's team members, so even when he spoke, he had a feeling of looking down on them, adding that everyone had witnessed his powerful strength. In that moment, an invisible pressure enveloped everyone's hearts. Did you hear that? Quickly move aside. Hong Yin placed her hands on her waist and shouted at Qi Wan and the rest. Despicable. Qi Wan was enraged and was about to attack. But just then, a hand pressed down on her shoulder. Qi Wan turned to look, only to see Bei Xianming behind her. Forget it. Let's go to the Pond of Heart to test. Let's not waste time here. It's meaningless for now. Let them be happy for a while. Bei Xianming squinted his eyes and said he did not feel any fear towards Su Yun's strength, but speaking about it, Su Yun had truly never seen Bei Xianming make a move, although he knew that he was only a first-stage spirit soul realm cultivator. But with Qi Shao Wan as an example, he did not dare look down on him. Furthermore, wasn't he someone who relied on treasures to survive? If you have any grievances, it's best to settle it on the competition grounds. Do not fight in private. If not, you will be punished according to Qin Creek's laws. Please remember that. Hui Yuan said indifferently, and then walked away. Su Yun did not say a word, and directly passed through Bei Xianming's team and followed behind. Wait and see. Qi Shao Wan whispered to Hong Yin, who was walking over. The two teams separated. Su Yun and the rest were brought by Hui Yuan to the back of the mountains. The so-called training grounds were all natural cave dwellings, but the cave dwellings were much cleaner and tidier than the ones in the wild. The cave dwellings were brimming with spirit qi, and after being blessed by the protectors, a large number of array formations were placed inside, and on the left and right of the walls were countless of bright gems, illuminating the cave dwellings brightly. But the cave dwellings were not for one person. As there were too many participants, the Qin Creek protectors arranged for two people to share a cave dwelling. Su Yun was very unlucky. He shared a room with Hong Yin. Wang Zhongshan shared a room with Luo Xiaomiao. Shen Hao shared a room with another person called Li Qing, and the remaining person shared a room with an unknown spirit cultivator. Wow, it's so beautiful here. I've grown so big, but I have never trained in a cave dwelling. Upon entering the cave, Hong Yin looked around and touched everywhere, like a curious baby. Su Yun did not say anything. At the end of the cave, he found a recuperation array formation and sat down cross-legged and started to meditate. Big Brother Wu Yun, the competition will start in 2 days. It will be conducted by drawing lots. Who do you think our first opponent will be? Hong Yin ran over and sat beside Su Yun and asked, as long as we don't meet our own people. Su Yun closed his eyes and said, I actually hope to meet that bitch Qi Shao Wan and cripple her in the competition and take revenge for Big Brother Long Hai and the rest. Hong Yin said. Su Yun did not say anything. Speaking of which, Big Brother Wu Yun, I heard you say that you are from the Julian region, right? Yes. Which part of the Julian region? Why are you asking this? Su Yun opened his eyes and looked at Hong Yin strangely. I'm just curious. Hong Yin laughed. Su Yun shook his head. I have been floating around and floated out from the Julian region. Then, Big Brother Wu Yun, I have a request. Can you agree to it? Just then, Hong Yin asked again. Request? Tell me what request you have first. It's that Hong Yin was a little embarrassed. She lowered her head and hesitated. After a long while, she gathered her courage and said, Big Brother Wu Yun, can you take off your mask and let me see your face? My face? Su Yun was startled. Why do you want to see my face? Hong Yan's expression became serious. She raised her eyes and looked at Su Yun, then said, Big Brother Wu Yun, if not for you, all of us would have died at the entrance. You saved all of us, and even saved my life, so you are my benefactor. Our Hong family has always been clear about gratitude and grudges, and repay kindness with kindness. Big Brother Wu Yun, I know you definitely have a reason for wearing a mask, but please let me remember your face, and in the future, I will definitely repay your kindness. No need. In that situation, no one would stand by the side and watch. You don't have to worry about it. But if I cannot see your true face, I will feel uneasy. Hong Yan's attitude was serious, without any pretense. Seeing that, Su Yun started to ponder. Hong Yan had never seen Su Yun's face before, adding that he had changed in the evil realm. There was no harm in letting her see. Thinking about that, Su Yun extended his hand and touched the mask on his face. Creak! The mask was taken off. A face with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, but his face was extremely pale, appeared in Hong Yan's vision. Hong Yan looked at him in a daze, and only after a long while did she exclaim out, Big Brother Wu Yun, you're so handsome, Su Yun. Hee, such a handsome face. Why do you need to wear a mask? Hong Yan brought up a topic again. Suyin could not help but suspect if she was purely love-struck. After she said a few words, Suyin continued to meditate and was too lazy to speak anymore. Hong Yin was lively for a while, but seeing that Suyin was not interested in her, she stopped. The two of them sat cross-legged in the cave to cultivate. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, a day had passed. This time, he was determined to obtain the Through Heaven's Mirror. If he was not able to get a good ranking in the competition, wouldn't everything be empty talk? Suyin did not stay for long. After a while, he opened his eyes and stood up. He turned to look at Hong Yin, only to see that she was still meditating, so he did not disturb her and walked out of the cave. It seemed to be the most basic competition for the Mountain River list, and there were not a single seeded participant to be seen. Of course, as a seeded participant, there was no need to participate in the preliminary competition. Suyin walked around, looking for places with spirit cultivators to walk around. Of course, his eyes did not stop, sweeping across all the spirit cultivators. Activating the heavenly scale divine eye, he could see everyone's strength. After walking for a while, he could see many spirit cultivators fighting. Although the Qin Cree protectors had stated that they were not allowed to fight, but if everyone used the excuse of exchanging pointers, then even the Qin Cree protectors would not be able to do anything about it. Suyin walked to a mountain stream, where there were many spirit cultivators seated cross-legged on a large boulder, absorbing the Qin Creek heavenly spirit chi. There was chi that was not present in the cave, and of course, there was no chi present in the cave. The participating spirit cultivators walked around him. No one seemed to care about anyone, but no one knew who was secretly watching them. "Hey, stinking brat, what are you looking at?" Just as Suyin was casually walking around, a voice suddenly came out from the side. Suyin looked towards the direction of the voice, only to see a few spirit cultivators walking towards him aggressively. "Is there something?" Suyin asked. "Of course there is. Stinking brat, why are you looking at my dual cultivation companion? Is she someone you can look at?" The man grabbed on his Suyun's Blade Master clothes and said fiercely. Hearing that, Suyun was startled, then asked, "Who is your dual cultivation companion? Remember it, it's her. Your dog eyes are not allowed to look around. If not, I will dig your eyes out," the man said fiercely. Then, Suyin shifted his gaze and looked at the female spirit cultivator on the large boulder. He then smiled and said, "Her figure is not bad. Dual cultivation will definitely have a different feeling, right? You." The man was extremely angry and was about to wave his fist, smashing towards Suyun's head. But in the next second, a leg was raised from below and fiercely kicked the man's lower abdomen. Dong! The man knocked over a few people, fell to the ground, and wailed. The force of this kick was not light. Seeing that, the people around were all shocked. This person's strength was so strong. Everyone was shocked. Suyin walked straight towards the female spirit cultivator who was sitting cross-legged. The originally calm female spirit cultivator saw Suyin walking towards her and could not help but feel afraid. She opened her eyes and looked at Suyin vigilantly. "What's your name?" Suyin stood in front of her and asked. "Who are you? So rude?" Who would ask for the other party's name the moment they meet? The female spirit cultivator secretly swallowed her saliva and said, "Hey, rude, shouldn't I be the one saying that? Next time you want to know the strength of others, don't use such a lowly trick, understand?" Suyin sneered and immediately turned to leave. The female spirit cultivator's face changed, alternating between red and white, but in the end, she did not say a word. So the man was sent by the female spirit cultivator to probe Suyun's strength. The competition was about to begin, and everyone urgently wanted to know the strength of the people they were going to face. But because the lots were drawn randomly, no one knew who their opponent would be, so they used the method of investigation to choose, and all the people who were deemed to be a threat would be listed as targets, and their cultivation and fighting methods would be investigated. The Mountain River List ranking competition relied on strength, and strength did not only include cultivation, but also included methods and wisdom. Seems like they're not simple people. If they're stupid, they will only be used as spears. Suyin shook his head and continued to move forward. Just then, a few spirit cultivators walked over. They stepped forward, looking straight ahead, as though they were an army. Su Yun casually swept a glance, but with just one glance, his heart tensed up. All of them were wearing masks, but the woman in the lead was the one he had seen in the city, the one with half of her mask, the one that gave him a familiar feeling. Who is she? Chapter 272. Just as Su Yun was staring at the lady, she tilted her head and sensed him. What's the matter? She smiled and asked. Nothing much. Su Yun quickly looked at the lady, but did not know who she was, so he made up a story. Although Miss is wearing a mask, but looking at your temperament and mood, you are definitely a celestial being. If it is convenient for Miss, can you take off your mask and let me see your beautiful face? Take off my mask? Huh. Why don't you take off your mask? Besides, is this lady's appearance something you can see? The lady's words were filled with arrogance and disdain, and she chuckled. Su Yun. The lady retracted her gaze and continued to walk forward. Su Yun looked at the lady's back, his eyes still filled with suspicion. Suddenly, the lady's figure froze, and her gaze shifted again. Su Yun was startled. He followed her gaze, only to see that the lady's eyes had landed on a person not far away. And that person was the female cultivator who had sent people to probe Su Yun's strength. A strange light aura flashed past the masked lady's eyes. Her thin lips slightly opened, and her tongue licked her lips. Then she walked towards the female cultivator and started chatting with her. The female cultivator seemed to be not used to the sudden appearance of strangers, and immediately called the group of men over and surrounded the masked lady. Who knew what the masked lady said, but the female cultivator's vigilant expression gradually relaxed, and slowly the two groups started chatting, and from time to time there would be laughter. Seeing that, Su Yun lowered his head and thought. After a moment, he turned and walked back to his own cave. Brother Wu Yun. Upon entering the cave, Hong Yin awoke from her meditative state. Seeing Su Yun walking in, she immediately welcomed him. Hong Yin. Su Yun nodded his head. Hong Yin looked at Su Yun from head to toe, then laughed. Did Brother Wu Yun go to see an old friend? Old friend? Su Yun was startled. Yes, an old friend. Hong Yin laughed. Qin Creek is a place where all the outstanding geniuses gather, and many people are able to meet their own friends in Qin Creek. Didn't Brother Wu Yun just go meet a friend? No. Su Yun laughed bitterly and shook his head. I was just taking a walk. Oh, then Big Brother Wu Yun, let's chat later. I want to look for my old friend. I heard that she is also preparing to participate in the mountain riverless competition. I wonder if she has reached Qin Creek. I have not seen her for so many years. I wonder how strong she is. All right, go ahead. Hong Yin nodded her head and left. After Hong Yin left, Su Yun had nothing to do and continued to meditate. Currently, he was already at the 6th stage of the Spirit Soul realm, and the Mountain River list was ultimately a competition between the young talents. Although it was open to the entire continent, with countless tyrannical experts and countless treasures, but there was a limit to their cultivation. In 30 years, no matter how good their talent was, no matter how strong their qualifications were, they could not possibly step into the Spirit Star realm, right? He had a large number of treasures and a 6th-stage Spirit Soul realm cultivator, enough to crush them. Su Yun thought. Entering a meditative state, he concentrated and calmed his heart. The spirit essence in his body released qi that flowed through his qi meridians, nourishing every part of his body. Hong Yin left the cultivation cave and went to look for her old friend. After chatting for a while, the two of them bade farewell. Just that, when Hong Yin returned, she was filled with worry, and in the end, she did not return to her own cave, but went into Wang Zhongshan and the rest cave. Coincidentally, Luo, Xiao Miao, Li Qing, and the rest were there as well, and all of them were chatting. Hong Yin. Seeing her, Wang Zhongshan laughed. You're here? Where's Brother Wu Yun? He is still cultivating. Hong Yin, who was filled with emotions, raised her head and forced a smile. Brother Wu Yun is so strong, and his hard work is related to him. We should learn from Brother Wu Yun. Wang Zhongshan praised. That's right. Luo Xiao Miao paused for a moment, then said, but come to think of it, Brother Wu Yun is truly strange. Strange? How is it strange? Isn't that strange? He was originally a disciple of the Immortal Sword sect, but he did not travel with the Immortal Sword sect on the way here. But when he came to Chin Creek, he did not meet up with the disciples of the Immortal Sword sect, but continued to stay with us. Isn't that strange? Tell me, could he not be a disciple of the Immortal Sword sect? With that said, Wang Zhongshan and the rest all frowned. If he is not a disciple of the Immortal Sword sect, then why does he know the Imperial Sword technique? Li Qing asked. The two of them looked towards Wang Zhongshan. It was obvious that they were suspicious. What does it have to do with you whether he is a disciple of the Immortal Sword sect or not? Just then, Hong Yin, who was by the side, scolded. Everyone was startled. Hong Yin placed her hands on her waist and snorted. Maybe Big Brother Wu Yun and the people from the Immortal Sword sect have some conflict. That's why they are not together. Big Brother Wu Yun is definitely not a bad person. If not, why would he risk his life to save you guys? I never thought that after he saved your lives, you guys would actually talk about him behind his back and suspect him. You guys are truly shameless. It's not like that. I was just curious, just a little curious, that's all. Luo Xiao Miao and the rest waved their hands, all of them perspiring profusely. You're not allowed to talk about Big Brother Wu Yun behind his back. No matter who he is, he will not harm you guys. Hong Yin was a little angry and turned to leave, although she had some suspicions in her heart, but she would rather hide them in her heart. Returning back to the cave, she saw that Su Yun was still meditating. His entire body was releasing a 7-colored light aura. It was extremely mystical, as though he was an immortal undergoing nirvana. What chi is this? Hong Yan's eyes were wide open. She stood in front of Su Yun and carefully looked at the halo of light around his body, feeling that it was inconceivable. She anxiously closed her eyes and carefully felt it, only to feel that the chi was actually mixed with swift wind, spirit life, true divine spirit, scarlet star, and wild blade. And other than that, there were actually 2 other types of chi. What is this? Hong Yin suddenly opened her eyes, looking at the scene with her mouth agape and eyes wide open. The halo of light slowly weakened. Su Yun raised both of his hands above his head and then slowly placed them down, a burst of chi revolving around his fingers. Who? Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief, then opened his eyes to see Hong Yin standing in front of him. What's wrong? Oh, nothing, Brother Wu Yun. What is the attribute of your profound spirit chi? Why are you asking that? Just now, when you were cultivating, the halo of light that leaked out actually had so many unique attributes. Is that the smell of your chi? Hearing that, Su Yun hesitated for a moment, then said, No, it's just the smell of one of my treasures. Oh, Hong Yin nodded her head. Bang! Suddenly, a loud sound came out from the entrance of the cave, causing the entire cave to tremble, and then an angry roar came out. The person inside, come out. Quickly come out. Come out. Quickly come out. If not, we will kill our way in. The angry roar continued to sound out, causing people to feel that it was ear-piercing. Su Yun and Hong Yin looked at each other suspiciously, then stood up and walked out of the cave. Just as they were outside, they saw a large number of spirit cultivators blocking the entrance, all of them wielding blades and swords, shouting loudly. Seeing that someone walked out, everyone immediately surrounded them, blocking their path. There were roughly 20 people, with a young man with a goatee leading them. Su Yun frowned. He looked at the people around him and asked, Who are you guys? What are you doing here? The young man called over a skinny and small spirit cultivator and asked softly. The skinny and small spirit cultivator looked at Su Yun and nodded his head. Seeing that, the young man's eyes flashed with a dense flame. After that, his gaze landed on Su Yun. He patted his chest and shouted, I am Lu Zhong. These are all my brothers that followed me from the Huaihai region to participate in the competition. I brought them here to seek justice from you. Justice? Yes, justice. The young man said angrily. He then waved his hand, causing the people behind him to immediately split apart. After that, a lady with an ashen face, who was on the verge of death, was carried over. Seeing the lady, Su Yun was startled. It was actually the lady who wanted to test his strength when he went out for a stroll. Her clothes were slightly untidy. Her entire being was in a daze, half conscious and half conscious, perspiring profusely, as though she was in endless pain. Someone saw that she was with you in the end, and now that she has become like that, quickly tell me, did you do it? Saw that she was with me. Su Yun frowned. He finally understood the cause of the matter. He did not know what happened to the lady, but she had become like that, causing her companions to be enraged and wanted to stand up for her. But coincidentally, someone saw him interacting with her, and thus gave the credit to him. But she seemed to be with the masked lady in the end, right? Why would they blame it on me? I remember that there were many people by the lady's side. Hey, Big Brother Wu Yun has always been training in the cave. Since when was he with her? Don't slander me. You need evidence for everything. If you don't have evidence, don't spout nonsense. Hong Yin stood up and shouted, Evidence? My people are the evidence. If they say they saw it, then they saw it. Ruo Lan became like that. It must be his doing. Lu Zheng said angrily. She was not with me in the end, but with a masked lady. If you want to find the culprit, you better investigate her, and not me. Su Yun said indifferently. What masked lady? Where's she? I don't know. TCH. Don't try to divert our attention. I don't care. Today you must give us an explanation. If not, we will not let this matter rest. Give you an explanation? Su Yun crossed his arms. Why? I didn't do it, and you want me to take responsibility? If I don't give you an explanation, what else can you do? Kill me? Here, why don't you try? Go and sue the personal protector? That's even better. Without any evidence, I don't believe you can slander me. You. Lu Zheng was enraged. He was so angry that he could not speak. Finally, he stopped and said angrily, Brat, don't let me meet you in the competition. If not, I will definitely kill you. Wait and see. With that, he turned and shouted, Let's go. The group of people left in a scattered fashion, bringing with them the anger that could not be dispersed. TSK, what kind of people are they? Without any evidence, they actually dare to slander me. Seriously. Yin mumbled. Su Yin scratched his chin, as though he was thinking about something. Hong Yin turned and looked at him. Big Brother Wu Yun, don't worry. With your strength, you don't have to be afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them, but I'm thinking about the woman called Ruo Lan. What? She shouldn't be dead, right? She is not dead, but her vitality was sucked dry, and she is not far from death. Su Yin shook his head. What? Her vitality was sucked dry? She was taken by someone to nourish her young? Hong Yan's face was pale, white, as she asked. Taken in to nourish young? Su Yin shook his head, a trace of ruthlessness flashing past his eyes. I think it should be in to nourish young clang. Just then, a melodious bell sound resonated throughout the entire valley. Hearing that, Hong Yan was startled. Big Brother, the drawing of lots has begun. Drawing lots? Chapter 273. Su Yun, Wang Zhongshan, and the rest left their respective caves and headed towards the gigantic statue in the center of the valley. The Mountain River List selection competition had already begun, and now all the participants would draw lots to pick their opponents, and after winning one round, the rank on the order badge would be promoted from worm to snake, then snake to wolf, eagle, elephant, lion, and finally to the dragon rank. After obtaining the rank of dragon, they would have the qualifications to participate in the Mountain River List seeded competition. There were a total of 100 people, but only 20 of them could be listed. The remaining 80 would be eliminated and would not be listed in the Mountain River List. But even so, to be able to obtain the rank of dragon, they had the qualifications to be hailed as exceptional geniuses, since the Mountain River List was open to the entire continent. How many people were there in the continent? Compared to the 100 people, it was a terrifying ratio. Around the statue, there were many jade-colored stages, arranged neatly like chess pieces, and around every stage, there were 4 Chin Creek protectors and a judge. In front of the statue, there were rows of white-robed cultivators. In their hands were square glowing crystals. The crystals were overflowing with a warm luster. It was extremely peaceful. The spirit cultivators who entered the region only needed to place their hands on the glowing crystals, and the crystals would imprint a mark on the spirit cultivator's body. And after the mark was formed, it would transmit the information of the designated stage to the owner, and the owner could only rely on the mark to enter the designated competition grounds, and could not step into any other competition grounds. Removing the mark without permission would result in disqualification, and this would greatly prevent the person from changing the mark and changing the opponent. Wang Zhongshan and the rest walked over and pressed on the crystal in the spirit cultivator's hand, causing the crystal to immediately release a white light and quickly move from his hand to his arm, and then into his hand, forming a faint rune imprint. In that moment, a number appeared in Su Yun's mind. 42. I am 37. I am 103. I am 8. Wang Zhongshan, Hong Yin, and the rest all reported their own stage numbers. Fortunately, we didn't bump into each other. However, with so many participants, the chances of them bumping into each other are too small. There's nothing to worry about. Wang Zhongshan let out a sigh of relief and said in a serious tone, "But everyone, since we're here, we must give it our all. Do not slack off. Many of the participants here aren't as strong as we think they are, but you must pay attention to a group of people like me who have been given the qualifications to participate. Of course, I'm not saying that my strength is high, but that those who have been given the qualifications by the officials are not ordinary people. In short, everyone do your best. Don't lose the first round." "All right." Everyone cheered, full of confidence. "Huh? How confident? I don't know where you get the confidence to say such words." Just then, an ear-piercing laughter came out from the side. Su Yun and the rest turned to look, only to see Bei Xianming and the rest walking over. "You bastards!" Li Qing was furious, but he was stopped by Wang Zhongshan. "There's no need to bicker with them. We'll see who's the real deal later," Wang Zhongshan said in a low voice. "That's true. If they don't rely on sneak attacks, what do we have to fear?" Li Qing snorted. "He arrogant. But don't worry, I'll make you shut your mouths obediently later. I think I heard that one of you is number 37. What a coincidence. I'm also number 37. Later, let me see how powerful you are." Bei Xianming waved his fan and laughed as he led his people away. Shen Hao, who was in the group, roared, "I am number 37, Bei Xianming. Later, I will let you know how powerful I am." "I'll wait." Bei Xianming's voice came out unhurriedly. Shen Hao and the rest were furious. All right. Everyone get ready. In another incense stick of time, we'll be going up." Wang Zhongshan retracted his thoughts and shouted. Everyone went to the side to rest. Hey, quickly look. Are those people from the Immortal Sword sect?" Suddenly, a slight commotion erupted out from the group of people. Immortal Sword sect? Su Yun was startled. He turned to look, only to see a group of men and women dressed in luxurious Blade Master clothings. All of them had golden dragon and phoenix imprints on their Blade Master clothings. All of them were handsome men and beautiful women, looking noble and confident. What was even more eye-catching were the two ladies walking at the front of the group, one big and one small. The small pretty girl had bright eyes and white teeth, elegant and refined. Her skin was as white as snow. Her figure was exquisite, especially her eyes, which were as deep as the starry sky. But compared to her, the great beauty beside her attracted the gazes of all the male cultivators. The great beauty was tall and slender, curvaceous in all the right places. Her long hair was like a waterfall that flowed down her back. In her hand was a white sword. Her face was covered with a veil, revealing only her eyes. But even so, she gave off a breathtaking feeling. Although they could not see her face, but that kind of ethereal and holy temperament had already conquered the hearts of all the men. She was like a fairy. The people from the Immortal Sword sect truly have extraordinary temperaments. That's right. It truly is a place where outstanding people live. Are they all participants? Who is that female cultivator? Is she also here to participate? That seems to be Clan Elder Long. Clan Elder Long? Clan Elder Long? Xianli? TSK. I have long heard of Clan Elder Long Xianli's beauty that could cause the downfall of cities and countries. Seeing her today, it truly is true. Ah, the surrounding spirit cultivators were all discussing amongst themselves. Seeing that, Wang Zhongshan and the rest were startled for a moment, then turned to look at Su Yun, only to see Su Yun quietly looking at them. Finally, his gaze landed on Long Xianli. He sighed and closed his eyes. Long Xianli, who was walking, had dim eyes. She just walked mechanically, her gaze casually sweeping around. Suddenly, her eyes landed on a figure in the crowd. That mask? Long Xianli was startled. Her gaze was startled as she looked at the lady who was standing with Fu Su. Clang! Just then, another deep and resounding bell sound resonated out. The competition is about to begin. All participants, please head to your own stage and take your place. Just then, a deep and resounding voice came out. Everyone turned to look, only to see that the person who spoke was the spirit cultivators who were dragging the crystals. They stood in a row in front of the stage. All of the spirit cultivators quivered and rushed towards their own stage. The crowd dispersed like birds and beasts. One by one, the figures entered the stage. Suyin did not delay. For the sake of obtaining the Through Heaven's mirror, he was ready to risk it all. With a flip, he went up to the 42nd stage. After a moment, a sturdy man also jumped up to the 42nd stage. This sturdy man had the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear. His skin was dark. Su Yin was already close to 2m tall, but his height was actually close to 3m. Adding his broad physique, he looked extremely scary. He held onto two large hammers and gasped for breath, his bull eyes staring straight at Su Yin. If you admit defeat now, you can suffer less. If you don't, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Although it is a competition, if I accidentally kill someone, then no one can blame me for my sins. Do you understand? The sturdy man pointed at Su Yun and said arrogantly. Killing intent rippled out. However, Su Yun did not care about him. Instead, he turned to the judge beside him and asked, "May I ask, can we begin?" The judge raised his head and looked at the sky. Just then, with a chirp sound, a pink light beam shot into the sky and exploded, causing a large number of talismans to fly into the sky. Seeing that, the judge immediately waved his hand. 42nd stage. Participant Wu Yun against participant Huang Taishan. Now, let the competition officially begin. Clang. A clear and crisp sound resonated in the small stage. Damn it! Seeing Su Yun being so rude, the sturdy man was enraged. Why would he care about anything? He immediately raised his two gigantic hammers and smashed them down towards Su Yun's head. The hammers were like tigers and tigers, the wind coiling around them. It was extremely powerful. But just as it was about to land on Su Yun's head, a pot of sound was heard. The hammers suddenly stopped. The sturdy man felt that his two hammers were stuck to something. They could no longer go down, and he could not lift them back up. Weird. The sturdy man turned his head to look and was immediately dumbstruck. Su Yin actually extended his hands out and caught the two huge hammers that were falling down. Despicable brat. When the sturdy man regained his senses, he became even angrier. Both of his legs stepped on the ground. His spirit essences opened wide. Surging true divine spirit chi flowed out like a river, crazily surging towards the twin hammers. His power suddenly increased by a few times, but the hammers were still unable to move. Su Yin looked at the two hammers in front of him, his eyes flickering. He is just a second stage spirit soul realm cultivator. In terms of strength, he naturally cannot win against me. But if I were to suppress him now, I am afraid that it would attract the attention of others, and it would not be beneficial for the later battles. Thinking about that, Su Yun pretended to be unable to hold on and let the hammers sway a few times. The sturdy man's eyes constricted. He felt that it was an opportunity and roared out, releasing the hammers. He leapt forward, and his two fists, one on the left and one on the right, flew towards Su Yun's head. Boom! A loud sound came out. But the sturdy man struck empty air. The person in front of him had suddenly disappeared. His heart tensed up. He immediately retreated to look, but before he could even turn around, a leg suddenly kicked his butt. South! The sturdy man flew out, falling onto the stage and rolling a few rounds. he was already in a daze and could no longer fight. Just as he was about to crawl up, Su Yun picked up his 2 sledgehammers and stood in front of him. The sledgehammers were pressed against his head. As long as Su Yun used strength, his head would explode like a watermelon. The victor was clear. I lost. The sturdy man bit his lower lip and said unwillingly, clang, clang. Su Yun threw the hammers in his hands onto the ground and turned to walk down the stage. Stage 42. Participant Wu Yun's victory. Participant Wu Yun has been promoted to the snake group. The judge's voice came out. At the same time, the surrounding stages around the gigantic statue would occasionally let out the miserable screams of participants and the judge's loud announcement. In the first round, there were people who fought extremely intensely, but there were also people who fought extremely easily. But without question, the first worm to snake competition would eliminate half of the hot-blooded young men and women with dreams. Chapter 274. The second round would be held the next day, since there were some people who were not as relaxed as Su Yun, and furthermore, there were some people who were injured and unable to continue fighting if they were to rush to the next round. It would be unfair to the truly strong and talented people. Wang Zhongshan and the rest were still fighting. Su Yun roughly looked around to see who was strong and could become a hidden threat. But before he could look carefully, a commotion came out from the other side. Su Yun was startled. He looked towards the source of the commotion, only to see a few spirit cultivators anxiously walking over. The crowd automatically dispersed, and at the side of the stage, there was a blood man lying on the ground. The blood man's entire body was filled with wounds. His skin was lacerated. It was extremely terrifying. His head was slightly caved in. It was extremely miserable. Who is this? He is so ruthless. His head is already rotten. I wonder if he's dead yet. Dead? If he were to kill someone in the competition, what kind of punishment would that be? I'm not sure. Let's see what the judge says. Everyone was discussing amongst themselves. Although most of the spirit cultivators standing here had seen the wind and waves before, when such a cautious scene fell into their eyes, it still made many people's skin and flesh go numb, giving them goosebumps. A few white-robed spirit cultivators wearing masks walked over, took out some pills, and quickly stuffed them into the blood man's mouth. Then one of them channeled spirit life chi into his chest, while the other 2 checked on his injuries. After a moment, he's not dead yet, but his head is heavily injured. I'm afraid he will lose his memories, and his cultivation and talent will also regress. A spirit cultivator raised his head and said to the judge. Hearing that, everyone sucked in cold air. To actually be so heavily injured. The judge understood, nodded his head, and thought for a moment, then looked at the man on the stage and shouted out loudly. The winner of this round of the stage is Bei Xianming. Then what about his injuries? Someone immediately pointed at the blood man and questioned. After judging, participant Bei Xianming did not do it intentionally. This year's Mountain River List competition is to completely relax the strength of the participants, to the point that they do not have their hands and feet bound, so they do not have any intention to injure others, so they will not be punished if there are no deaths. The judge said calmly, What? Everyone was in an uproar. His talent was destroyed, and he even lost his memories. Is that not a punishment? Isn't this too inhumane? Fists and feet have no eyes, and blades and swords are merciless. In the end, the competition is carried out in the manner of fighting and killing. No one can predict what will happen. As long as it is not intentional, it will be regarded as no fault. So you're saying that killing people is okay too? If he intentionally killed someone, he will be punished according to Cheen Creek's rules. If he killed someone by mistake, he will not be held accountable. The referee said slowly. As soon as he finished speaking, the entire audience went into an uproar. In that case, it was possible to kill people in the arena. Then what's the basis for determining whether it's manslaughter? Someone gulped and asked hurriedly. There's no basis. It's up to the referee. The practitioners picked up the bloody man and left the arena. The crowd gathered around for a while and then dispersed. Su Yun, who was at the side, watched the scene quietly. A complicated look flashed past his eyes. That's right, the blood man was Shun Hao, and the reason why he was like that was naturally related to his opponent, Bei Xianming. Brother Wu Yun, seems like you also easily promoted to the snake group. Bei Xianming jumped down from the stage and smiled at Su Yun. He's quite ruthless. Su Yun said, Hee, it's just SOSO. Su Yun did not say anything else. He turned and walked toward the other stages. Bei Xianming waved his fan, smiling as he looked at Su Yun's back. Su Yun looked like he was looking at flowers on horseback, shuttling back and forth between the stages, his gaze sweeping across the stages on his left and right, but the majority of the fights on the stages could not attract his attention. It was still the first round of competition, so there were many impurities, and the truly exciting battles would only happen later. Dong! Suddenly, a low sound came out from the side of the stage. Looking over, he saw a light snow-white figure standing in the middle of the stage, and her opponent was already lying on the ground in a sorry state. Bai Yin Shan, Su Yun's expression congealed. He secretly activated the heavenly scale divine eye and looked over. Four-stage spirit soul realm. Although in the entire Mountain River list competition, she was not considered to be at the top, but among the spirit cultivators of her age, it was already extremely shocking. After all, she was still young, and many of the clan elders of the small powerhouses did not even reach that level of cultivation. I never thought that Bai Yin Shan would improve so quickly. After not seeing her for a period of time, she is already at the fourth stage of the spirit soul realm, truly a talent that the Immortal Sword sect has nurtured meticulously. He stood below the stage and watched quietly. The person on the stage crawled up in a sorry state. Seeing Bai Yin Shan's calm expression, he clenched his teeth and rushed forward. Bai Yin Shan's legs lightly tapped on the ground. Lightly leaping backwards, she then raised her palm and waved. Kung Chong. The sword at her waist that was in the sword sheath actually flew out with a Kung Chong sound and directly spun a few rounds in the air, then flew towards the person. Oh! Su Yun squinted his eyes. Imperial sword technique to kill? Since when did the Immortal Sword sect have such a technique? Is it the Immortal Sword sect's newly improved Imperial Sword technique? It seems to be very powerful. I heard that Limitless Sword Lord's Imperial Sword technique made the Immortal Sword sect extremely embarrassed. So the sect leader of the Immortal Sword sect painstakingly researched the Imperial Sword technique and finally enlightened him on the Imperial Sword technique to kill. But no matter how exquisite the Immortal Sword sect's people are, they can only control one sword, unlike the Sword Lord, who can control 100 swords at the same time. So it was like that. The people at the side discussed. Su Yun's ears twitched. He was enlightened. Seems like the things that he did in this life had changed a lot. In his previous life, he had never heard of such a strange technique from the Immortal Sword sect. Bai Yin Shan was powerful. Her mystical techniques were exquisite. She easily defeated her opponent, and under everyone's praises and astonishment, she slowly walked down, like a victorious warrior returning home. Su Yun glanced at Bai Yin Shan and quietly left. The word on the order badge had already turned into the word snake, and the mark on his arm had dimmed down. The competition would start tomorrow, and the mark would light up again and give him some information about the competition. What the participants had to do now was naturally to prepare. Su Yun's footsteps were hurried. He left the competition area and headed back to his cave. Then, he had just walked out of the Hu Sai Sai area when he saw a gentle and graceful figure passing through the walkway, heading towards the outskirts of Qin Creek. Long Xianli? Su Yun was startled and stared blankly. Honestly speaking, he did not know what relationship he had with Long Xianli. It was just that at the peak of Wu Shuangju, Long Xianli looked like she wanted to kill him, but he could see that she was secretly being merciful. If not, he would not have been able to leave so easily. The Immortal Sword sect's disciples have not even finished competing. She is an elder. Why is she leaving Qin Creek? Where's she going? Su Yun did not understand. He was filled with suspicions and followed. Because of the heavenly scale divine eye, Long Xianli did not know that there was someone behind her. Qin Creek did not restrict participants from entering and leaving. Su Yun, who was wearing a mask, carefully followed Long Xianli, and the two of them quickly left Qin Creek. Long Xianli raised the white sword in her hand. Gently stepping on the sword blade, she then soared into the sky and carefully advanced forward. She's following someone. Seeing that Long Xian Li was carefully looking at the ground, Su Yun immediately understood. Although Long Xian Li was an expert, her tracking techniques were not considered top-notch. He watched as the white sword carried the person across the huge mountain, through the mountain range, and finally entered a small volcano. They were already about 100 li away from Qin Creek. Long Xian Li carefully landed and used her profound spirit qi to cover her body, concealing the qi that she was releasing, and then using the big rock, she carefully advanced forward. Su Yun, who was behind her, did the same. He looked at Long Xian Li, who was a few hundred meters away, and after thinking for a while, he looked towards the direction that Long Xian Li was looking at and activated the heavenly scale divine eye. In that moment, Su Yun's vision suddenly expanded, and the scene in the distance immediately appeared in his vision. 2 men and a woman appeared at the mouth of the volcano. The man and woman were rushing to a man dressed in a blood-red robe and wearing a blood-red hood. They were kneeling and paying their respects. The man and woman were dressed more normally. The man was dressed luxuriously, with tassels hanging down from his temples. He had sharp eyebrows and was extremely handsome. But the woman was a little weird. She was wearing a broken mask. The other half of her face was extremely pale. Her lips were slightly black, and her figure was slightly bloated. Su Yun frowned. He did not recognize the woman, but he was very clear about the man, because the man was Prince Fu Su. Why is Prince Fu Su here? And who is the woman beside him? Who is he kneeling to? Su Yun was completely confused. Such dense blood qi. It was neither evil nor demonic, and he did not know what it was. Who? Just at this time, a cold voice exploded out. Su Yun was startled. He looked over, only to see Long Xian Li slowly walking out from behind the big rock and walking towards the 3 people. The 3 of them realized Long Xian Li was hiding in the dark and were all shocked, but very quickly, the lady wearing the broken mask laughed. I was wondering who it was, so it's the famous Clan Elder Long of the Immortal Sword Sect. Clan Elder Long, why aren't you looking after your group of brats from the Immortal Sword Sect? What are you doing here? Long Xian Li was not in a hurry to reply to the lady. She looked at Fu Su and the man in front of the lady, only to realize that the man's entire body was overflowing with blood qi. The blood qi was extremely fishy, causing people to feel nauseous. Who exactly are you people? Long Xian Li frowned and asked softly, what does it have to do with you who we are? The lady smiled and said, her eyes sweeping across Long Xian Li's exquisite and perfect figure. She licked her dry lips, a hint of lust flashing past her eyes. Your mask. Long Xian Li pointed to the lady's face and asked, this is Limitless Sword Lord's mask, right? Why is it in your hands? Do you know where Limitless Sword Lord is? Chapter 275. Limitless Sword Lord. The lady was startled, then laughed out loud. Ha! I knew it. So Elder Long was following us because of Limitless Sword Lord. That's right. When Limitless Sword Lord killed your great clan, Elder Shenhong, your Immortal Sword sect must have hated him to the bone, right? Don't talk nonsense. Quickly tell me, where is Sword Lord? Long Xian Li took a deep breath and said coldly, I don't know. The lady smiled faintly. Then your mask. I made it myself. What's wrong? Could it be that just because it's the same as Sword Lord's, it means that I'm related to him? You. Hee. But seeing how Elder Long is trying so hard to find Sword Lord, I'll tell you this out of goodwill. Limitless Sword Lord is long dead. Your Immortal Sword sect doesn't have to find him for revenge anymore. The lady wearing the mask crossed her arms and smiled at Long Xian Li. What? Hearing that, Long Xian Li's eyes constricted. Her beautiful face turned pale white. Her body swayed a few times, and she retreated a few steps, her expression sluggish as she looked at the lady wearing the mask and muttered, Is what you said true? Sword Lord he's really dead? Huh. Seeing Long Xian Li's reaction, the 3 of them were suspicious. Sword Lord is dead. Long Xian Li should be happy. Why does she look so sad? Could it be that the 2 of them have some sort of connection? Young Master Fu Su frowned. Regardless of their connection, since this lady has seen me, your identities have been exposed. Do it, kill her and cover up. The man by the side, who was covered in blood chi, said softly. Yes, young master. The two of them cupped their fists and then looked at Long Xianli. Long Xianli sat on the ground powerlessly, her eyes overflowing with tears, and looked at the two of them lifelessly. The lady gave Fu Su a look and then stepped forward and walked towards Long Xianli. Elder Long, what's wrong? You look so sad. Sword Lord is dead. Are you not happy? The lady put on a look of concern and slowly approached Long Xianli, but secretly, her hands were already preparing to kill. Long Xianli did not make a sound. She lowered her head, and no one knew what she was thinking. At this moment, whoosh, the masked woman suddenly raised her hand and fiercely slapped Long Xianli's head as a burst of green light rippled from her palm. Demonic chi. However, just as the demonic aura seeped out, a sword aura shot out at an even faster speed, piercing through the masked woman's chest. Poochie! The masked woman screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. She retreated and almost fell to the ground. She clutched her pierced chest and raised her angry eyes to look at Long Xianli, only to see the pale-faced Long Xianli standing up. She wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and looked at the three of them, muttering, Who killed Sword Lord? What are you doing? Venerable swordsman can only die by my hands. I will avenge whoever killed him. Before the masked woman could finish, Long Xianli raised her hand, and the white sword flew out of its sheath. The killing intent rose along with the sword intent. But before that, let me slaughter all of you evil beings first. Cleanse my sky martial grounds. Long Xianli scolded coldly, her eyes filled with heroic spirit. With a wave of her hand, the white sword released 10 rays of white sword chi that flew towards the three of them. From the start, Long Xianli had never let down her guard. Fu Su and the masked woman immediately blocked. The two of them released green and red chi, mixing them together and congealing into a big shield to block the sword chi. But Fu Su and the masked woman had underestimated Long Xianli's strength. The sword chi shot over and actually pierced through the big shield, piercing the two of them. Poochie, 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 a few blood holes appeared on Fu Su and the masked woman's body, causing the two of them to retreat and spit out blood. Their fighting strength was greatly reduced. Powerful, the man who was emitting blood chi finally could not hold it in any longer. He clapped his hands and walked over with a sinister gaze. As expected of the clan elder that represents the immortal sword sect, Clan Elder Long's strength is truly shocking. Admirable. Admirable. I'm untalented, but I would like to experience Clan Elder Long's mystical techniques. Long Xianli raised her hand, causing the white sword to revolve around her body. Her beautiful face stared at the man with blood chi and asked, Who are you? You can call me Blood Noble. Blood Noble, Clan Elder Long, your strength is not bad. Even in the spirit demon realm or the demonic realm, you can still become a person, but you're only a clan elder of a second-rate sect. Don't you think it's a waste of your talents? If you are willing to serve me and treat me as your master, I can give you a higher position and even more outstanding conditions. I can let you have everything that you can't even imagine. Blood Noble chuckled, the blood chi in his body trembling along with his laughter. Long Xianli's face was ice cold. She was not moved. What kind of person do you think I, Long Xianli, am? Humph. You want me to be your lackey? Dream on. With that said, Long Xianli once again controlled the white sword and rushed forward. The white sword continued to revolve, releasing a large amount of swift wind spirit chi, transforming into a terrifying tornado that rushed towards Blood Noble. The masked lady and Fu Su retreated, although the two of them were not weak, but against Long Xianli, the difference was not small. Clan Elder Long, I only said those words to you because I respect you. If you do not know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being ruthless. The smile on young Noble Shue's face gradually disappeared. Looking at the sharp sword that was flying towards him, his eyes became serious. Suddenly, he let out a loud roar, and his entire body actually erupted with waves of bloody light. The bloody light congealed together, forming a vigorous and powerful hand. It ruthlessly grabbed the white sword that was flying towards him. Sword intent in my heart, profound separation chi, lust god breaking tendons and blood, limitless extreme nameless. Long Xian Li's pink lips opened, quickly chanting, her slender fingers moving. The snow-white sword started to revolve frantically, shattering the blood hand that was restraining it. Following that, the sword body expanded crazily. In a blink of an eye, it became 10 times bigger, slashing towards Blood Noble. Blood Noble raised both of his hands up high. Dong! His arms actually blocked the gigantic white sword that was slashing down. The entire volcano shook incessantly, and a large number of mountain walls cracked open, with thick black smoke coming out of the crater. Blood Noble's face congealed. He actually used his hands to block Long Xianli's attack. It showed that his strength was not ordinary. Long Xianli did not hold back. Using all her strength, she controlled the white sword to press downwards. The surging profound spirit chi was like the sky collapsing, fiercely suppressing. Blood Noble's legs continued to sink. With him, as the center, the ground started to crack. But at that moment, the corner of the Blood Noble's mouth suddenly curled up, revealing a strange smile. Following that, he silently chanted a chant, and the blood chi behind him condensed into 2 gigantic bloody hands, quickly grabbing onto the gigantic white sword. Long Xianli was startled. A light flickered in her eyes. She immediately understood Blood Noble's plan. She immediately retracted her sword. But Blood Noble's hands were like iron pincers, not willing to let go. So. At the same time, 2 lightning-fast figures rushed out from behind Blood Noble. One on the left and one on the right. They directly attacked Long Xianli. So that was Blood Noble's plan, to forcefully fight with Long Xianli, and then use his strange mystical technique to restrict Long Xianli's weapon, forcing her to give up her weapon. If she persisted, she would only be injured by Fu Su and the Masked Lady, and at that time, the situation would be even worse. Long Xianli was a sword cultivator. Her mystical techniques were mainly based on the sword. If she lost her sword, Long Xianli's fighting strength would drop, and her situation would not be any better. In just a short period of time, Long Xianli was actually forced into a desperate situation. Despicable fellow! Long Xianli clenched her teeth, her other hand gently waving, as though she was planning to unleash some mystical technique. But at this time, Blood Noble took the opportunity to increase his strength, pressuring Long Xianli. If Long Xianli was distracted and used her mystical technique to force Fu Su and the Masked Lady back, she would only be suppressed by Blood Noble. At that moment, she had no other choice. So, just at this time, a light and graceful long sword suddenly flew out from Long Xianli's back, directly slashing towards the Blood Noble. Blood Noble was startled. He immediately activated his treasure to block, and a blood-red skull flew out, spiraling towards the slender and smooth sword. But the skull was like a piece of paper. It was directly pierced through by the sword tip whistling as it fiercely flew over. What? Seeing that, Blood Noble turned pale with fright. He immediately understood that the incoming person was not weak. The skull was a top-grade treasure. But it was easily pierced through by the sword. It was definitely not because the opponent's sword was extremely powerful, but because the opponent was too strong. She has an expert helping her. If we continue to fight, it will only attract the attention of the Cheen Creek people. We cannot stay here for long. Let's go. Blood Noble bellowed. He then retracted his hand. Transforming into a blood mist, he soared into the sky and escaped far away. Seeing that, Fu Su and the Masked Lady gave up on killing Long Xianli without hesitation and followed closely behind. Seeing that, Long Xianli wanted to chase after them, but after taking a few steps, Blood Noble and the rest had already disappeared into the sky without a trace. She turned around and saw a man whose face was completely covered by a mask standing behind a boulder not far away. Seeing this person, Long Xianli was stunned for a moment. She glanced at the long sword and asked, "Who are you? Why do you know the Imperial sword technique?" Facing Long Xianli's question, Su Yun did not say anything, but directly used his spirit chi to recall the sword, then threw it into the sky, intending to leave. "Sir, please don't go," Long Xianli shouted anxiously. She leaped and landed in front of Su Yun, directly blocking his path. Her face was solemn, her expression focused as she looked at Su Yun seriously. "Sir, you saved Xianli. Xianli is extremely grateful, but you should be using my sect's imperial sword technique. Sir, please tell me your identity. Where did you learn your imperial sword technique from?" This. Su Yun's gaze swayed. He thought for a moment, then said, "The world is big, and there are all sorts of strange things. The Immortal Sword sect's imperial sword technique is indeed famous, but that does not mean that the Immortal Sword sect is the only sect that knows the imperial sword technique. It is not strange for me to know the imperial sword technique. Today, I coincidentally passed by and saw that young lady was being harmed by a scoundrel, so I took action to save you. Now that young lady is fine, I will be leaving. I hope that young lady will not block my way." Hearing that, Long Xianli's beautiful brows frowned slightly. She wanted to say something, but Su Yun had already controlled his flying sword and flew far into the horizon. Long Xianli quietly watched the figure flying in the sky, her eyes flickering. Chapter 276. With his identity exposed, and Long Xianli unable to get rid of him, Fu Su naturally had no choice but to give up on the competition. But the masked lady could continue to participate since she did not reveal her true appearance. Even if she changed her mask, no one would be able to tell who she was. But who was the blood noble? Looking at the evil chi leaking out from his body, it was weird, neither demonic nor evil, but a little like a demon. Is he a demon from the demonic continent? Returning to Qin Creek, Su Yun, who had returned to his cave, lowered his head to think. If it was a demon, then it was a completely different feeling from the demonic sect. Could it be another demon? Su Yun thought. Just then, a person walked into the cave. Looking, it was Hong Yin. She was extremely furious, gritting her teeth in anger. "Hong Yin, what's wrong?" Su Yun asked. Hong Yin was furious. Bei Xianming and those despicable people, they actually beat Shen to such a state. They are truly despicable. Those people, they are truly lawless. When I meet them in the next round, I will definitely teach them a lesson and help Big Brother Shun how vent his anger. Seems like she knew about Shun Hao as well. Bei Xianming and his people are not simple. You have to be careful. Su Yun said, "I understand." The two of them chatted for a while, then sat down cross-legged and started to meditate. Time passed quickly. In a blink of an eye, a day had passed. The two of them left the cave and once again headed towards the gigantic statue in the valley. At that moment, the statue was surrounded by a sea of people who knew how many people had gathered. The people who lost in the worm to snake competition were not in a rush to leave Qin Creek, but stayed behind to continue watching the competition. The exchange of blows between experts was beneficial to them. Su Yun and Hong Yin found Wang Zhongshan and Li Qing. Without question, everyone was furious about Shen Hao. But what surprised Su Yun was that in the team, not only did Hong Yin advance, even Wang Zhongshan had successfully won the first round, while the rest were all eliminated. But Wang Zhongshan's complexion was not as good as the day before. It was obvious that he had fought extremely hard, and it would be difficult for him to advance again. Bei Xianming and his people are here. Just as everyone was chatting, Li Qing suddenly exclaimed. Everyone looked towards the entrance to see Bei Xianming leading a group of people, and upon seeing Wang Zhongshan and his people, Bei Xianming's mouth curled up. "Brother Wang, are you all right? You don't look too well." Bei Xianming looked at the pale Wang Zhongshan and immediately waved his fan and asked, "Very soon, your face will be even uglier than mine," Wang Zhongshan said solemnly. "Huh, then we shall wait and see." Bei Xianming did not care. He laughed out loud and brought his men away. Despicable asshole. Hong Yin was so angry she was trembling. Wang Zhongshan retracted his gaze and comforted his teammates. All right. Everyone, don't be angry. Hurry up and get ready. Let's strive to win today's match." The few of them did not care about Bei Xianming and started to prepare. The competition started at noon, and everyone's face was full of solemnity. Half of the people had already been eliminated. Even if the remaining ones weren't outstanding existences, at least they wouldn't be trash. The pressure on everyone wasn't small. From time to time, Spirit Cultivator would walk into the competition grounds, and the entire place would be buzzing with activity. Suddenly, a burst of colorful light burst out from the crowd, attracting people's attention. It was the light of the contestants' magic treasures. A row of white-clothed, masked cultivators walked into the competition grounds. They walked one round around the competition grounds, inspecting it, and then sat in their assigned positions. They were the notaries of the Mountain River list. Suyin sat cross-legged at the side of the competition grounds, waiting for the information from the imprint. Hong Yin, Wang Zhongshan, and the rest were at the side, inspecting their treasures. Hey, what do you guys think? We're the seated participants now. Li Qing used his profound spirit qi to inspect the treasure, formless fruit, in his hands, and asked, "They're definitely in the sacred palace in Qin Creek." Hong Yin muttered, "Sacred palace, I wonder if I, Li Qing, will have the life to step into the sacred palace." Wang Zhongshan laughed out loud and patted Li Qing's shoulder. "We will definitely have the chance. Let's hope so." Li Qing laughed bitterly. Just then, a beautiful figure suddenly walked over without a sound and stood in front of Suyin. Wang Zhongshan and the rest froze and looked over. Dressed in a snow-white gown, with a veil over her face, her beauty was enough to cause the downfall of nations. Like a celestial being, Long Xianli was actually standing in front of everyone. She stood there, the breeze blowing her ink-black hair, causing it to curl up, causing the hearts of the people who were looking at her to palpitate, and their souls to be in trance. What a beauty! Everyone sighed in their hearts. "Clan Elder, is this your old friend?" Bai Yinshan, Wang Hao, Zhang Kaifeng, and the rest walked over and looked at Wang Zhongshan and the rest. Long Xianli did not reply Bai Yinshan, her snow-white eyes gently looking at Suyin. "Are you here to participate in the Mountain River list?" she asked gently. Her voice was gentle, causing people to feel as though they were bathing in the spring wind. Suyin, who was cultivating, opened his eyes. Looking at Long Xianli, he did not say a word and gently nodded his head. "Oh!" Bai Yinshan, who was by the side, was startled. Looking at the man's eyes under the mask, her expression was startled. His eyes. Where have I seen them before? Bai Yinshan thought. Long Xianli looked at everyone, then turned her gaze to Wang Zhongshan and said, "I remember that you are from Long Ao Nation Sky Dragon City Wang family, right?" Wang Zhongshan anxiously stood up and bowed to Long Xianli. "I am Wang Zhongshan. I greet Clan Elder Long. Hong Yin greets Clan Elder Long. Li Qing greets Clan Elder Long." Everyone was extremely respectful. Everyone do not need to be so courteous. You are all the young talents of the Sky Martial Continent, and the peace and stability of the Sky Martial Continent depends on you all. Long Xianli nodded her head. Seeing that Suyin did not speak, she stood there for a while, but in the end, she did not say anything, pursed her lips, and turned to leave. This caused everyone to be suspicious. What relationship does Wei Yun have with Long Xianli? When the Immortal Sword sect people left, Wang Zhongshan and the rest all looked at Suyin. At this moment, everyone was certain. Suyin was not from the Immortal Sword sect. Just that, no one questioned Suyun's identity and did not look at him differently. Although they had not interacted with him for a long time, but everyone knew that Suyin would not harm them. Dong! Just then, a deep and melodious bell sound came out from afar. Following that, the bustling competition ground slowed down. The stage that was placed on the stage released a dazzling light aura, and at the same time, all of the participants' imprints on their arms lit up. Everyone also received the information. Number 21. I am number 9. Hong Yin and Wang Zhongshan reported the number of the stage, and then looked at Suyin. Number 51. Suyin took a deep breath and stood up. "Everyone, you can do it," Li Qing said. Everyone nodded their heads and headed towards their own stage. The second round of the Mountain River List selection competition, Snake to Wolf, is about to begin. All participants, please prepare yourselves. Following this, I will announce the rules for the competition. A Qin Creek protector instigated his profound spirit Qi, standing in front of the stage and shouting, his voice resonating throughout the entire competition grounds. Everyone listened attentively. No one dared to make a sound. After the entire process was completed, all of the participants started to look for their own stages and went up one by one. Hong Yin did the same. Luckily, the 9th stage was not far from her, saving her some effort. So you're number 9. Just as Hong Yin was about to go up the stage, an ear-piercing voice came out. She turned her head to look, only to see Qi Xiaoluan standing on the walkway, looking at her with a ridiculing gaze. Are you number 9 too? Hong Yin tightened her grip. Unfortunately, I am not. Qi Xiaoluan shrugged her shoulders and laughed. Don't be anxious. There will be a break between us, but you better not disappoint me. You better not fall here. I will wait for you in the next round. Humph. You better take care of yourself first. Hong Yin said angrily. Don't stop at the snake group. If not, you'll be a joke. I will lose. You're thinking too much. Qi Xiaoluan laughed in disdain, then turned and left. Hong Yin stared at the direction she left in. Clenching her teeth in anger, she wanted to immediately spar with Qi Xiaoluan. On the way, she had been ridiculed by her countless times, but every time, she could only stare at her. She could still clearly remember the unforgivable things that she had done at the entrance. I must definitely defeat her, Hong Yin thought resolutely. Just that when that thought popped out, it immediately disappeared. She opened her eyes wide, looking at Qi Xiaoluan, watching as she slowly walked past the stage, her expression slowly changing from anger to shock. That stage? At that moment, stage 51. Suyin crossed his arms in front of his chest, closed his eyes, quietly standing on the stage. When someone flipped over and came up, he then slowly opened his eyes. In front of him was a lady dressed in a red dress. She did not look old, but there was a trace of yin qi between her brows. She held onto a slender tang blade, raising her eyes to size up her opponent. When she saw him, the lady's face was filled with shock. I never thought that my opponent this time would be you. Su Yun's mouth formed an arc. Squinting his eyes, he stared at the lady in front of him. Qi Xiaoluan never thought that her second round would actually be against such a person. She took a deep breath, her eyes flashing with a complicated light aura, with a trace of fear and a trace of unwillingness. Finally, the unwillingness won over the fear. Wu Yun, don't look down on me. You think I'm afraid of you? You're wrong. Qi Xiaoluan knew that Su Yun was not simple. She growled, then took out the strange pearl from her storage ring, and without saying a word, she stuffed it into her mouth. The second round of the snake to wolf, participant Wu Yun against participant Qi Xiaoluan, begin. The judge waved his hand and bellowed. In that moment, Qi Xiaoluan's entire body released a large amount of light aura. A tight-fitting light armor covered her entire body. Following that, the blade in her hand also transformed into a light blade, and with a growl, she transformed into a light beam and quickly rushed towards Su Yun. Like a shooting star. Chapter 277. Clang. The clear and crisp sound resonated in the stage. However, the snow-white lightsaber was blocked by a pitch-black sword with a scabbard, and the wild blade aura on the lightsaber spread out like ripples. Oh! Qi Xiaoluan was startled, but did not stop. She turned and unleashed her signature technique, mysterious blade steps, creating layers of illusions that revolve around Su Yun, releasing a large number of blade images. Accept your death. Qi Xiaoluan's eyes flashed with a glint. She bellowed, and from all four of the illusions, for snow-white blades appeared, slashing towards Su Yun's head. Although the four blades were extremely powerful, but in truth, only one of them was the main body. The exquisite technique was to confuse the opponent, causing the opponent to not know where the blade came from, and thus obtain the unexpected effect. Fallen Leaves Sword Technique. Su Yun flipped the death sword, his arm trembling. The death sword was like a leaf being blown by the wind. With the control of his hand, it quickly revolved around his body, sometimes high and sometimes low, producing waves of sword images, actually sealing off all the blind spots around him. That's impossible. Qi Xiaoluan's eyes were wide open. She could not believe what she was seeing. Clang, The layers of blade images dissipated, the snow-white blades were flung away, the pitch-black death sword, under the control of Su Yun's arm, quickly struck Qi Shaowan's abdomen. Qi Shaowan did not receive the attack, but immediately fell backwards, rolling a few times on the ground. Only then did she stop. She angrily crawled up, but before she could say anything, she felt a sweetness in her throat, and with a wah sound, she spat out a mouthful of hot blood. I never thought that, even after activating my top-grade treasure, I would still not be your opponent. What cultivation level are you at? Qi Shaowan wiped the blood off the corner of her mouth and stared at Su Yun coldly. Anyways, I'm stronger than you. Su Yun muttered softly. He suddenly moved and attacked Qi Shaowan. He would not be merciful just because the opponent was a woman, and furthermore, he did not agree with Bei Xianming and Qi Shaowan's methods. If he said he was not angry, it would be a lie. So, he did not plan to be merciful. The man in front of her turned into a black wind and attacked. Qi Shaowan anxiously raised her blade to block. The light aura on the blade became extremely intense and congealed into a brick wall, quickly forming in front of her, forming a defense. Boom! The black wind struck onto the brick wall of light and stopped, but the force released by the black wind passed through the brick wall and onto Qi Shaowan's body. Causing her body to tremble once again, she retreated a few steps. The profound spirit chi in her body seemed to be withstanding a perilous situation. It was extremely unstable, causing the brick wall to crumble. Su Yun took advantage of the momentum and rushed forward. The death sword was connected to the sword sheath and pierced towards the abdomen. Although the death sword was not unsheathed and only used the sword sheath to attack, the power bestowed by his dense profound spirit chi was not simple. Dong! 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 Although Qi Shaowan had activated a powerful treasure, causing her cultivation to soar, she was still unable to keep up with Su Yun's rhythm. His speed was too fast, and his strength was astonishing. In a moment, she was unable to retaliate. Her lower abdomen and chest were heavily injured, causing her to spit out blood. The situation was getting worse and worse. Quickly look, junior sister Bai. Isn't that the person that Clan Elder Long was talking to? Bai Yinshan, who had just walked down from the stage, asked the Immortal Sword Sect disciple beside her in surprise. Bai Yinshan was startled. She looked towards the direction of the voice and saw the duel between Su Yun and Qi Shaowan on stage 51. That woman, what a powerful aura. She must have activated a very powerful magic treasure. But, even so, that masked man was able to deal with her so easily. Just who is this person? Speed, power, reaction, techniques. The masked man's battle strength was much higher than Qi Shaowan's. Bai Yinshan could not help but hold onto the sword in her hand tightly, a raging fire igniting in her eyes. Junior sister Bai, don't worry. We will meet him sooner or later. Wang Hao said. With his strength, he should be able to enter the dragon group. As long as we guarantee that we can enter the dragon group, we will definitely be able to spar with him. Junior sister Bai, I know you like to fight, but you must remember, do not reveal too many of your own methods. Save it for later and catch him off guard. Zhang Kaifeng said. Bai Yinshan nodded her head, but did not say anything, her gaze landing on the stage. Bang bang. She raised her leg, straight for Qi Shaowan's face. Qi Shaowan immediately used her blade to block, but was too slow. Her entire body was kicked and spun a few rounds, then fiercely smashed onto the ground, causing the stage to shake, showing how strong the force of the kick was. There was also a faint footprint on her face. Asshole! Qi Shaowan was completely enraged. She felt that the opponent was clearly humiliating her, completely defeating her in front of everyone. Her eyes turned red, and she gritted her teeth. She no longer had any misgivings. She crawled up, took out another pill, and stuffed it into her mouth. Wu Yun, you forced me. I originally planned to use this to enter the Mountain River list ranking competition, but now you have angered me. When you die later, don't blame me, because you asked for it. With that said, Qi Shaowan's hair fluttered. She opened her mouth and released a mournful scream. Ah! The crazy scream attracted countless of spirit cultivators from all directions. Everyone's attention, even the row of Chin Creek officials, could not help but look at stage 51. The armor on her entire body started to turn blood red, and the wild blade spirit chi lingering around her body actually started to change, transforming into an even more tyrannical and sharp, profound spirit chi. Attribute change? Su Yun frowned. Not only the attribute change, it also bestows mystical techniques. Wu Yun, this is my trump card. After using it, my talent will drop by 30%, but it doesn't matter. As long as I can kill you, I will pay any price. Qi Xiao Wan, who was releasing a dazzling red light, laughed. Her eyes filled with madness. She raised her blood-red blade, pointed at Su Yun, and suddenly, the blade trembled. Clatter. The stage beneath Su Yun's feet suddenly split open, and a 3-chi-long red light blade flew out, fiercely slashing towards his lower body. Su Yun's lower body felt a chill. He raised his speed to the limit, dodging to the side. He was almost hit by the light blade. The sudden release of the technique, without any warning, made it hard for people to defend. It was most likely a low-grade Earth-level mystical technique. Earth-level mystical technique. Mystical techniques were split into 9 levels and 27 grades, and a low-grade Earth-level mystical technique was definitely not weak, and to be placed in a young spirit cultivator. What kind of powerful mystical technique would it be? Above that would be a profound level mystical technique that was comparable to the Sprite's Shadow 72 techniques. What did Qi Xiao Wan use? Wu Yun. Just then, the enraged Qi Xiao Wan roared again. She raised her blade and rushed forward. Although she was petite, her aura was as strong as a mountain, causing the pressure on Su Yun to multiply, causing him to feel as though he was being forced back. What was even more shocking was the attribute bestowed by Qi Xiao Wan's profound spirit chi. It was not an ordinary wild blade spirit chi. It was even more powerful than the wild blade spirit chi. He took a deep breath, and other than the evil spirit essences in his body, all of his spirit essences were opened. The surging profound spirit chi gushed into his chi channels, causing his strength to increase rapidly. So, Su Yun stared at the opponent's pressure and rushed forward, the death sword aiming straight for Qi Xiao Wan's chest. Although the death sword was not unsheathed, the profound spirit chi surrounding the sword sheath was extremely dense. If the sword pierced through, even without the sheath, it would still be able to easily pierce through Qi Xiao Wan's body. But the current Qi Xiao Wan was not an existence that did not even have a spirit core disciple cultivation. She was like Su Yun in the past, relying on various treasures to raise her cultivation to a terrifying realm. Facing Su Yun's overbearing attack, Qi Xiao Wan did not panic, but instead revealed a pleased smile. Suddenly, she extended out her seemingly weak hands and actually grabbed onto the death sword's sword sheath. In a moment, she held it tightly in her hands and stopped Su Yun's attack. Her hands released a large amount of strange spirit chi, directly breaking all the killing techniques. Su Yun frowned. Wu Yun, don't look down on me. Today, I will let you know how powerful I, Qi Xiao Wan, am. The death sword was restrained, unless Su Yun and Qi Xiao Wan fought barehanded. But the reason why Qi Xiao Wan dared to use her bare hands was because the death sword was not unsheathed, and the sword sheath was not sharp. But the blade was different. With the support of Qi Xiao Wan's treasures, the blade's body was already so sharp that it made people tremble in fear. Qi Xiao Wan said softly, her mouth revealing a victorious smile. The blade aimed straight for Su Yun's heart. But, in that moment, a cold light flashed past Qi Xiao Wan's eyes. Following that, the blade was struck by the cold light, and the brute force flowed through the blade and into Qi Xiao Wan's body. Bang! Without waiting for Qi Xiao Wan to react, her chest was kicked again, and she was forced to retreat a few steps, crashing into the barrier at the side of the stage. Su Yun borrowed that kick to leap into the air, landing in mid-air. Looking at him again, both of his hands were actually holding on his swords. One was the death sword with a sword sheath, and the other was the slender engraved dragon blade. Su Yun stared at Qi Xiao Wan, killing intent flashing past his eyes under the mask. He casually pointed the death sword towards the sky, and a bit of profound spirit chi shot out like an arrow, following the death sword's tip and shooting into the sky. In that moment, the sky darkened. As though a storm was approaching, A gigantic black cloud fell down like the sky, directly crashing down towards the stage. Waves of throbbing hearts, a power that intimidated the human spirit, soared up from the stage. Countless of people below the stage were in an uproar, and some of the more knowledgeable people were already shouting out. That's a profound, rank, mystical technique. It's a profound, rank, mystical technique. What? Profound, rank, mystical technique? He actually knows a profound, rank, mystical technique? Impossible. Exclamations rose and fell like waves, but even more people held their breaths, their eyes staring blankly at the stage. Qi Wan was already dumbstruck. She never thought that he would actually throw a profound, rank, mystical technique at her. He was obviously trying to take her life. Be careful. Bei Xianming, who had finished the competition below the stage, could no longer sit still and shouted anxiously. Qi Wan stared at the pitch-black clouds, her eyes revealing a trace of unwillingness. Despicable Wu Yun, I never thought that you would actually have such strength, a profound rank mystical technique. Profound rank mystical technique. Do you want to kill me? Suddenly, she bellowed and suddenly swung the blade in her hand. The blade actually swung close to 10,000 times in a few breaths of time. Every swing releasing a terrifying blade qi filled with profound spirit qi. The 10,000 blade qi converged to form a gigantic dragon that soared into the sky. But when the gigantic dragon neared the black clouds, it saw a gigantic halberd smashing down from the black clouds. The halberd struck the gigantic dragon horizontally, shattering it into pieces. Following that, a 300 tall gigantic war god descended from the sky, landing on the stage. Formless war god seal. Among the Qin Creek's notaries, an old man with white hair and a hoarse voice exclaimed. The war god's entire body was glowing. His body was illusory, but his aura was extremely powerful. Upon landing, he raised the halberd in his hand and crazily smashed towards Qi Wan. Dong! 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 In just a few hits, the number 51 stage was completely destroyed, the ground shook incessantly, and a cloud of dust spread out. Chapter 278. Dong! 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 The war god stared at Qi Wan, as though he had gone crazy. He fiercely smashed his halberd over, seemingly not holding back at all. The ground shook from his strikes. The simple and violent movements left an indescribable shock in everyone. Qi Wan had long given up on attacking and focused on defending. She held onto the long saber with both hands, blocking the giant halberd. The place where she stood had long since caved in, and her entire body was beaten by the halberd until she was on the verge of death. If not for the long saber being a peerless grade magic treasure, she would have already died miserably at the hands of this war god. So, just as Qi Wan was bitterly holding on, Su Yun rushed over. Qi Wan's heart jumped. Su Yun held onto his two swords and turned around. The two swords danced like a tornado. After that, the two swords stacked together, becoming one, and directly smashed towards the blade in Qi Wan's hands. Clang! Qi Wan, who was exhausted by the war god. How could she resist Su Yun's full-force attack? The two swords clashed onto the blade's body. Qi Wan's hands loosened, and the blade flew out. Su Yun held onto his swords. His legs tapped lightly, and he quickly retreated. And at the same time he retreated, the gigantic war god waved his halberd again, smashing towards Qi Wan. Shit! Qi Wan's face turned pale white. She immediately understood Su Yun's intentions. Without a weapon, what can I use to defend? Although the war god was summoned by him, it was not controlled by him. Su Yun was obviously planning to kill her. Her mental state tensed up, her body trembling uncontrollably. In that short period of time, she finally understood how vicious and merciless the man in front of her was. She closed her eyes, no longer having any thoughts of resisting. Stop! Just then, a figure suddenly rushed out, directly rushing into the area of stage 51, blocking Qi Wan. Dong! The man raised the blade in his hand, blocking the halberd, but his cultivation was not even comparable to Qi Wan. After receiving the attack, The skin on his body immediately cracked, and blood flowed out. It was Bei Xianming's team's Lu Bu Min. So. When Lu Bu Min entered the competition grounds, the Qing Creek protectors around stage 51 also immediately moved. The four of them turned into shadows and entered the stage. The competition is temporarily suspended. The referee shouted. One of the Qing Creek protectors stretched out his finger and released a light beam that struck the light silhouette ward god's chest. The light silhouette ward god instantly dissipated, and four Qing Creek protectors surrounded Qi Shao Wan, and Lu Bu Min Su Yun frowned. He landed on the ground and kept his sword, no longer moving. This scene completely shocked all the contestants and spectators in the vicinity of Arena 51. Everyone stood up in unison and looked over at the scene. What happened? Someone's interfering with the competition. What? Disrupting the competition? There is actually someone so daring. This is Qing Creek. Interfering with the competition is equivalent to ignoring the Qing Creek protectors. The consequences are extremely severe. Just which reckless thing has the guts to do this? People whispered to each other and discussed spiritedly. Every face was filled with surprise. At the side of the immortal sword sect, Yin Shan, the slender and elegant Long Xianli, who was standing amongst the immortal sword sect disciples, retracted her gaze and opened her mouth. Clan Elder, Yin Shan is here. What are the chances of you winning against Qi Shao Wan? Long Xianli asked lightly. 100%. 100%? Are you looking down on her? It's not that I'm looking down on her. It's that she's not worth my attention. Then what about against Wu Yun? Bai Yin Shan hesitated for a moment, then shook her head. Disciple does not know. You don't have confidence? It's not that Yin Shan doesn't have confidence, but Yin Shan does not know the opponent's depth. When he fought against Qi Shao Wan, he did not even use his full strength. Long Xianli was quiet for a moment, then said, Yin Shan, the clan elder hopes that you can promise me something. Can you do it? Please instruct me, clan elder. Bai Yin Shan gently bowed and said respectfully, if you go against Wu Yun, you cannot hold back. Use your full strength and defeat him. Understand? Long Xianli said indifferently. Bai Yin Shan was startled for a moment. She looked at Long Xianli in confusion, but in the end, she did not ask any more and nodded. Yes. On the other side of the stage. Seems like the selection competition is not simple. To actually have such a strong person appear. This trip was not in vain, senior brother. A man dressed in a blue robe with a crew cut spoke to the person beside him. Beside him was a tall and sturdy man with a square face. The man had his hands crossed in front of his chest, and his eyes were closed, as though he was resting. Don't cause too much trouble. You cannot forget the mission given by the sect. Take the mission as your priority, and do not care about anything else. Hey, senior brother, what you said is wrong. We are here to find someone, but to find someone, we need to obtain a good ranking. If not, how can we come into contact with the seeded participants? Furthermore, we need to pay attention to every participant. If we are like a block of wood like you, how can we find that person? The crew cut man laughed. The sturdy man did not say anything and continued to rest with his eyes closed. The judge walked into stage 51 and looked around, then stared at Lu Bu Min, who was covered in wounds, and asked, Participant Lu Bu Min, you were eliminated in the first worm to snake promotion round, and now you have barged into the competition grounds, disrupting the competition. According to the rules of the Mountain River List selection competition, you will be disqualified from participating in the Mountain River List competition and will be confined for a year and will not be allowed to step into Qing Creek for the next 10 years. Confined? Lu Bu Min was startled. He anxiously pointed at Su Yun and shouted, I did it to save someone. That person. That Wu Yun. He obviously wanted to kill Miss Shao Wan. You guys are not punishing him, but punishing me? I am not convinced. I am not convinced. Whether participant Wu Yun killed someone or not will be judged by the judge and the other nobles. There is no need for you to judge. It is an indisputable fact that you have disrupted the competition grounds, and now your punishment is officially in effect. It will be carried out immediately. With that said, two Qing Creek protectors walked towards Lu Bu Min. Lu Bu Min panicked. He anxiously shouted, No, I'm not convinced. I am not convinced. I am not in the wrong. Wu Yun is in the wrong. He wanted to kill someone. Everyone saw it. I'm not convinced. You guys should be catching Wu Yun. You can't catch me. You can't catch me. Qi Xiao Wan opened her mouth, wanted to say something, but at that moment, Lu Bumin had already made his move. He activated his profound spirit qi and struck towards the Qin Creek protectors who were walking towards him, intending to force them to retreat. But the moment he made his move, the two protectors also made their move. The spectators only saw the two Qin Creek protectors moving their hands in front of them. The miserable shriek resonated throughout the entire competition grounds. Lu Bumin's entire body instantly fell to the ground, twitching crazily, and both of his arms were actually drooping on the ground, unable to move. The bones in both of his arms were completely shattered. The spectators all sucked in cold air, their scalps going numb. They did not even see the Qin Creek protectors make their move, and Lu Bumin's arms were instantly shattered, losing his fighting strength. So strong, and so cruel, to actually cripple Lu Bumin. Even if his arms were to recover in the future, it would leave behind an illness, and his talent and cultivation would definitely be affected. The Mountain River List competition is not a game. Anyone who dares to cause trouble here will be severely punished. Sitting in the row of officials, the white-haired old cultivator with a hoarse voice stood up, his gaze focused on the surroundings, and said sternly, "Anyone who dares to cause trouble in the competition and does not obey the rules of the Mountain River List will have their cultivation destroyed. Half of your talent will be removed, and, if necessary, your life will be taken. So, all participants please take note, follow the rules here. If you are not willing to participate in the Mountain River List competition, you can leave." With that said, the entire competition grounds became quiet. At that moment, no one dared to be impudent. Those arrogant and conceited young geniuses restrained their tempers. And how could they dare act presumptuously in the slightest? At that moment, everyone finally experienced the terror of the Qin Creek protectors. The judge paused for a moment, then continued to speak. According to the competition rules, participant Lu Bumin has already received his punishment, but because the competition was disrupted, the competition on stage 51 will be considered as invalid. Two participants, we will conduct a new competition for you. Do you have any objections? Everyone looked at Su Yun and Qi Xiao Wan. Su Yun did not make a sound and looked at Qi Xiao Wan. Then, Qi Xiao Wan's body swayed, and before she could even speak, she fell to the ground, her face as pale as snow. "I forfeit," she said weakly. To continue the competition at such a time, that was courting death. Stage 51 Snake to Wolf Promotion Competition. Participant Wu Yun wins. The judge announced loudly. Good. Li Qing, Wang Zhongshan, and the rest were the first to shout out. The disparity in strength was too great. No matter how arrogant Qi Xiao Wan was, she knew that the disparity between her and Lu Bumin was too great. This time, Lu Bumin had saved her, but who would save her next time? She could see that Su Yun did not hold back at all, and if they continued fighting, she would lose her life. The competition ended with Qi Xiao Wan admitting defeat. At that moment, everyone had a new understanding of the man called Wu Yun who was wearing a mask. I thought he was just a fourth-stage spirit soul realm cultivator, but from the looks of it, he is far from that. Young Master Bei Xian, what about Lu Bumin? Everyone knows that Lu Bumin likes Miss Xiao Wan, but this time he is too rash to actually disrupt the competition. He truly does not know what's good for him. The Qin Creek protectors are not people we can offend. Bei Xianming shook his head, his expression becoming serious. I will inform the Lu family and get them to send people over to negotiate with the Qin Creek people and try to release Lu Bumin as soon as possible. Everyone, stay calm and don't mess around anymore. All of you are representing my Bei Xian family to fight, so do not throw my Bei Xian family's face. Even if all of you are unable to enter the Dragon Group, at least bring back a good ranking. The benefits of the Mountain River List are countless, and we cannot give it up. Yes, young master, everyone shouted. Bada. Su Yun kept his sword, jumped down from the stage, and walked towards the crowd. Everyone around immediately opened up a path, allowing him to leave. Many of them started to whisper and discuss. That person is called Wu Yun? So strong. I wonder what cultivation he has. I heard that he is from the Long Ao Nation's Sky Dragon City Wong family. He is from the Sky Dragon City Wong family? When did the Wong family have such a person? So powerful. Everyone discussed softly, and when Wang Zhongshan heard those words, it made him smile from ear to ear. He was extremely happy. Su Yin had made a name for the Wang family, so Wang Zhongshan was naturally grateful and planned to invite Su Yin to a banquet. But Su Yin was not interested in it at all. He rejected Wang Zhongshan and the rest, and returned to his cave to train alone. In the battle with Qi Shao Wan, he had activated the consummate technique of the sprite shadow. Qi Shao Wan already had killing intent towards him, so he did not need to be courteous. Since the competition did not punish accidental injuries, then he planned to use accidental injuries to repay Qi Shao Wan. Su Yun was not a magnanimous person. On the contrary, against his enemies, he was extremely petty and would definitely take revenge. Qi Shao Wan did not die, which made him disappointed, but it did not matter. Qi Shao Wan was not a threat to him. Now that he had successfully become a participant of the wolf group, he could not relax. The further he went, the stronger the experts would be. This is only the selection competition. The ranking competition has not even started. The true experts are all in the sacred palace. I cannot be careless here. Su Yin thought to himself, for the through heaven's mirror, I need to give it my all. Chapter 279. Third round, Wolf to Eagle. There were only two people left from the Wang family's team, Su Yun and Hong Yin. Wang Zhongshan had also lost in the competition from the snake to the wolf yesterday. His opponent was considered to be more modest and did not make any moves. Although Wang Zhongshan was not satisfied, but with his injuries, he could no longer hold on and could only admit defeat. The following rounds were not easy, and after a few days, the wolf to eagle competition officially began. Wang Zhongshan, Li Qing, and the rest sat on the seats to watch, while Hong Yin and Su Yin walked into the competition grounds. Su Yin headed straight for the 73rd stage with the imprint. Voila! He flipped himself up the stage and quietly waited for his opponent. He did not know what kind of expert his opponent would be, but to be able to get close to the wolf group, he was definitely not an ordinary person. Su Yin did not dare to be careless. He slowly activated the profound spirit qi in his body and adjusted himself to his best state. He had to win against his opponent, and at the same time, he had to hold back and avoid exposing too many methods and let the hidden threats come up with ways to deal with him. Chill. Just then, the sound of air breaking came out. A strong gust of wind blew. Following that, a figure stepped on a flying sword and quickly landed on the 73rd stage. Coming up was so cool. Su Yin looked at the figure. He saw a man wearing a brown Blade Master robe with a relatively wide and muscular body standing in front of him. The man had a crew cut and looked mediocre. He was not handsome, and his body was slightly bloated. However, what was more eye-catching was that there was a jade token hanging on his waist. People from the Immortal Sword sect? Su Yin was happy. That's right. I am called Wang Hao. Brat, I do not know what relationship you have with our clan Elder Long, but since you are standing in front of me today, I will not hold back. Prepare to receive my attack. Wang Hao said, waving his hand. The sword flew up, and like a small dragon, it quickly revolved around his body. He wanted to test out the new type of Imperial Sword technique of the Immortal Sword sect and see how it was different from the limitless sword arts. Su Yun's expression was solemn. He took out the death sword, stared at Wang Hao, and prepared to attack. Wang Hao looked at Su Yun, his face darkening. Brat, why aren't you unsheathing your sword? You are actually using a sword sheath. Are you looking down on me? Su Yun did not say anything, and only stare at Wang Hao. If necessary, he would rather use the engraved dragon blade than pull out the death sword. If not, the limitless sword arts would reveal his identity as the limitless sword lord. At that time, there would only be more troubles. Su Yin did not want to explain, but in Wang Hao's eyes, it was arrogance and arrogance. Wang Hao clenched his teeth. His heart was burning with anger. He bellowed, "Stinking brat! Who do you think you are? How dare you treat me like this? Good. I will let you see the power of the Immortal Sword sect's sword techniques." With that said, He immediately activated his Swift Wind Spirit Chi. Stage 73 Wolf to Eagle Promotion Competition. Participant Wu Yun against participant Wang Hao. The competition will now officially begin. The referee exclaimed. Chirp! In that moment, the sharp swords that were revolving around Wang Hao flew over and pierced towards Su Yun's heart. Dang! The flying sword was struck away by the death sword, but it was just a feint. Wang had already rushed over. He formed a finger seal with one hand, the tip of his finger releasing an extremely sharp sword chi, sweeping towards Su Yun's neck. That swift and fierce sword chi slashed over like a sword. Release your aura. The spectators below the stage who had lost all shouted out, using Swift Wind Spirit Chi to form a sword. This immortal sword sex Wang Hao is truly not simple. Let's see how Wu Yun handles this. Everyone discussed. On the stage, Su Yun's neck slanted and he dodged, but the flying sword swayed over again. Following Wang Hao's command, it circled behind him and attacked him. One man and one sword perfectly coordinated, causing the spectators below the stage to be dazzled. Look at this technique. Isn't that the immortal sword sex spirit sword mutual combat technique? Wang Hao's finger gathered sword chi and quickly slashed, while the sword continued to stab from behind. But even though the attack was fierce and compact, it was unable to touch Su Yun. Every time the sword chi touched Su Yun's body, he would cleverly dodge it, although it looked like Wang Hao had the upper hand. But in truth, Su Yun was not at a disadvantage. Instead, Wang Hao's consumption of profound spirit chi was a few times that of Su Yun's. Damn it! Wang Hao was furious. He suddenly retreated and removed the sword chi from his finger. With a grab, the flying sword that was attacking Su Yun from behind immediately flew over and landed in his hand. Die! Wang Hao bellowed. Sword storm technique. The sword flew over, nearing Su Yun. It actually transformed into thousands of sword images, slashing down like raindrops. Su Yun anxiously retreated, holding onto the death sword. He unleashed the Fallen Leaves sword technique. But just by relying on the Fallen Leaves sword technique, which was not a high-grade sword technique, how could it defend against Wang Hao's immortal sword sex exquisite sword techniques? Suddenly, Su Yun raised his hand, the death sword was raised up high, and his chest was exposed. Seeing that, Wang Hao was elated and immediately raised his sword to kill. But before he could even get close, the death sword suddenly dropped down. A sword chi on the death sword's sword sheath trembled, and when it landed, it burst out, fiercely smashing towards Wang Hao. Seeing that, Wang Hao said coldly, "Humph, you want to exchange with me? Fine, I'll exchange with you." With that said, he did not defend and directly attacked. But just as his sword was about to pierce Su Yun suddenly extended his hand. A cold light flashed in his palm and directly struck Wang Hao's sword. Clang! The sword was struck away. What? Wang Hao was startled. He could not react in time, and his body was struck by the sword chi released by the death sword. His entire body was sent flying, and after rolling a few rounds on the ground, he finally stopped. But on his chest, there was a long sword wound. The wound was bleeding, and the Blade Master clothes he was wearing was instantly slashed apart. He struggled to stand up with his sword, but saw that Su Yun was already walking over. Seeing the two swords in Su Yun's hands, Wang Hao's eyes revealed a look of surprise. Dual martial artists? Brat, you can actually use two swords, then why didn't you use one at the start? I didn't want to use them at the start. Can I? Furthermore, I have a sword sheath and a long sword on my back. Don't tell me you really think I will only use one sword? Seems like you did not pay attention to my previous battles. Su Yun shook his head. His eyes suddenly became fierce, and both swords slashed towards Wang Hao. Don't look down on me. Wang Hao suddenly roared. The sword in his hand transformed into a rainbow that pierced towards Su Yun. Boom! The long sword flew over. Su Yun used both swords to blocking the long sword, but it was unable to force Su Yun back. Wang Hao sat cross-legged, both hands forming seals. He controlled the long sword to attack, but Su Yun forcefully blocked the long sword and actually continued to step forward, slowly walking towards Wang Hao. Wang Hao's eyes were wide open. Looking at the person walking towards him, a look of fear flashed past his eyes. Bang! Suyin raised his leg and kicked towards Wang Hao. Wang Hao was once again kicked flying and fell to the side of the stage. His attack completely dissipated, and the sword that was attacking Su Yun also fell to the ground. Su Yun took the opportunity and threw the engraved dragon blade towards Wang Hao. The engraved dragon blade's blade body was wrapped with pure divine spirit qi. To outsiders, it looked like the blade was thrown, but in truth, the limitless sword arts had already been activated. This attack, even if Wang Hao tried to block, he would definitely not be able to. The victor had been decided. A sinister look flashed past Su Yun's eyes. Wang Hao admit defeat. Just at the moment of imminent peril, a clear and solemn voice came out from below the stage. It was Long Xianli. Wang Hao swallowed his saliva, but he did not dare think anymore, and immediately shouted, "I admit defeat." With that said, Long Xianli turned into a white figure and rushed up, directly pulling out her snow-white sword. She slashed at the engraved dragon blade. Seeing that, Su Yun anxiously stopped the limitless sword arts. Clang! The engraved dragon blade was sent flying. It spun a few rounds in the air and pierced right in front of Su Yun. Participant Wang Hao has surrendered. Stage 73 Wolf to Eagle competition. Participant Wu Yun's victory. The judge immediately announced the result. Boos immediately came out from below the stage. Wu Yun is truly powerful. Even an expert from the Immortal Sword sect was defeated. Seems like he has a high chance of being promoted to the Dragon Group. Let's hope that we do not meet him in the next round. Everyone discussed softly. Wang Hao, who was lying on the ground, fiercely hammered the ground and said unwillingly, "Damn it." Su Yun picked up the engraved dragon blade, kept it back into the sword sheath, and turned to leave the stage. Long Xianli looked at him with a complicated expression, a light aura flickering in her eyes. No one knew what she was thinking about. After leaving the stage, Su Yun walked out of the crowd, planning to head back to his cave and continue training. But before he could even take a few steps, he saw Li Qing rushing through the crowd, heading towards the east. Li Qing's expression seemed to be extremely anxious. Su Yun frowned. Did something happen? He immediately followed, but never did he think that Li Qing would actually head straight for Hong Yan's stage. At that moment, the stage was filled with participants, and the majority of the spectators were looking over. Su Yun stood in the crowd, looking at the stage. With just one look, his face turned cold. Hong Yan was currently covered in blood, bitterly holding on against her opponent. Her body was full of scars, and blood flowed all over the ground. However, her expression was very determined, and she did not have the slightest intention of giving up. Her opponent seemed to have seen through her thoughts and did not defeat her in one strike. Instead, he slowly tortured her. The opponent was not a stranger. It was Bei Xianming, who had deep hatred for Wang Zhongshan and the rest. "Hong Yan, give up. Don't fight anymore. Quickly give up." Wang Zhongshan and the rest shouted anxiously. "That bastard insulted my dead sister. I will never forgive him." Hong Yan clenched her teeth and said angrily. With that said, she rushed forward again. "Ha ha ha ha. Hong Yan, did I say anything wrong? Although I'm not familiar with you in the past, but my subordinates know you. Didn't your sister marry an ugly person for the sake of wealth and glory? Didn't your sister get beaten to death by that person? Hee, I see that your sister is pitiful like a bitch. You're not far off. Since you're a bitch, then you must have the awareness of a bitch. Your looks are not bad. If you're willing to admit defeat and follow me, maybe you will live a better life than now." Bei Xianming held onto his fan and laughed. Hearing that, the people below the stage all revealed looks of disgust towards Bei Xianming. Hong Yan was already completely enraged. She endured the pain on her body and roared as she rushed forward. But she was not Bei Xianming's opponent at all. Bei Xianming casually waved his fan, and a large number of wind blades flew out, directly slashing towards Hong Yan. Hong Yan anxiously used her weapon to block, breaking a few of the wind blades, but there were too many of them, and she was unable to block the last few, and was struck by them. Her lower abdomen was cut open, and she fell heavily onto the ground. She was already on the verge of death. and could no longer continue fighting. Stage 98, Wolf, to Eagle Promotion Competition. Participant Bei Xianming wins. The judge announced the result loudly. With that said, Wang Zhongshan and the rest immediately rushed forward. "Han Yan, are you all right? Han Yan?" "Bei Xianming, you are too ruthless," Li Qing said angrily. "Ruthless?" Bei Xianming slowly walked down the stage, his mouth cracking into a smile. "Who asked her to not admit defeat? You are obviously provoking her, and you want her to admit defeat? You despicable person, to treat a woman so cruelly. Are you still a man?" Wang Zhongshan roared. "That's right, this is too ruthless. Since you can win, just hurry up and win. Why do you have to do this? This is outrageous. You look like a dog, yet you do such a thing. You are not a man." A few passers-by could not take it anymore and started to criticize Bei Xianming. Bei Xianming did not care. He laughed out loud and left. A few spirit cultivators ran over and carried Han Yan away. If she was injured in the competition, Qin Chuan would be in charge of healing her. Seeing that, Su Yun thought for a while and followed the spirit cultivators to the place to recuperate. Chapter 280. Although Qin Creek's medical standards could not be compared to Blossom Heart Valley, but it was not bad, adding that the protectors were all strong. After Han Yan received a series of care, her life was no longer in danger, and after swallowing a few pills, she was arranged to rest. Seeing that she was fine, Wang Zhongshan and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. After chatting for a while, Su Yun planned to return to his cave. "Brother Wu Yun." Just as Su Yun was prepared to leave, Wang Zhongshan called out to him. Su Yun stopped and turned to look at him. Wang Zhongshan cupped his fists and bowed respectfully to Su Yun. Zhongshan's strength is low, his talent is low, and in the Mountain River list, he is considered a mediocre person. Although Han Yan and I have not known each other for long, but in my eyes, she is like a sister to me. I cannot let today's matter go, but the current Bei Xianming is no longer the Bei Xianming of the past. I know that I am not his opponent, adding that I do not have the qualifications to fight anymore. So, Brother Wu Yun, Zhongshan is begging you. I hope that you can defeat Bei Xianming. I beg of you. With that, he bent down and lowered his head. Su Yun's eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking, but he did not agree or reject. In the next moment, he turned and left. Wang Zhongshan raised his head, looking at Su Yun, who was far away, his expression somewhat disappointed. Did he not agree? Li Qing asked from behind. "I don't know. Now that Han Yan has been eliminated, to take revenge, we can only rely on Brother Wu Yun. He is very strange." Wang Zhongshan sighed. "I do not know how much we weigh in his heart, but let's not force it. Brother Wu Yun has already done enough for us." Returning to the cave, Su Yun sat cross-legged and meditated. The current cave was extremely empty. Han Yan's injuries would not heal for a few months, and she would most likely not be able to watch the Mountain River List competition. He took a deep breath and continued to meditate, the profound spirit chi in his body revolving quickly. Through the continuous battles and observation, his battle experience had increased by a lot, and at the same time, he had learned many techniques. Because he had to cover up the limitless sword god and the evil spirit essences, Su Yun did not dare to control his flying sword during the battle, and even more so, did not dare to use the great evil sword technique. All his fighting techniques were extremely ordinary, and the only powerful one was the formless battle god seal that he used against Qi Shaowan. I still need more powerful mystical skills, Su Yun pondered. Thinking about Qi Shaowan, Su Yun could not help but think about the pills that she had swallowed while fighting. Pills, he pondered for a moment, and an idea flashed through his mind. The Mountain River list is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. I wonder what kind of experts I will meet in the future if something happens to me, and I'm not able to enter the top 3. What should I do? Thinking about that, Su Yun stood up and looked at the storage rings on his 10 fingers. After thinking for a while, he immediately took out the things inside and started to fiddle with them. He did not dare to take out the materials that he brought out from the evil realm. If not, once he left the spatial isolation of the storage ring, the evil chi would leak out, and if the Qin Kree protectors noticed, it would be troublesome. Clatter. Just then, a set of footsteps that were neither light nor heavy came out from the cave. Suyin opened his eyes. He kept everything into his storage ring, and then looked over. A few figures walked into the cave, and upon seeing them, they were actually Bei Xianming and his men. Bei Xianming held onto his fan. He let his subordinates in. A faint smile hung on his face, his gaze always looking at the people inside the cave. Brother Wu Yun, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations on entering the Eagle Group. You are truly powerful, causing people to have a whole new level of respect for you. Congratulations. Bei Xianming laughed and said with a passionate look, "What's the matter?" Suyin asked. "Nothing much. The competition has ended, and I have nothing to do, so I came to visit Brother Wu Yun." Bei Xianming said with a thick face, "Our relationship doesn't seem to be that good, right?" Suyin did not mind. He continued to sit on the ground and close his eyes to rest. "Haha, things like relationships. If you say you have it, then you say you don't have it. Brother Wu Yun, maybe our relationship isn't that good, but from what I know, your relationship with Wang Zhongshan shouldn't be any better, right?" Bei Xianming smiled and said, "I won't beat around the bush, Brother Wu Yun. Today, I am here to give you some treasures." With that, he waved his hand, and a few spirit cultivators walked up from behind. They took out boxes that were shining with rainbow lights from their storage rings. They seemed to be gift boxes. They were the size of a human. All of them were neatly stacked together, and with a quick glance, there were actually more than 10 of them. "These are all treasures that I have meticulously prepared. Every box is worth at least 100,000 spirit coins. They're just ordinary objects. Maybe they're not worthy of Brother Wu Yun's eyes, but they represent my kind intentions. I hope that you will accept them." Bei Xianming laughed. Suyin opened his eyes, swept the gift boxes, and asked, "Why are you giving me such things out of nowhere? I'm afraid you have something to ask of me." I can't hide it from Brother Wu Yun. Speak, what is it?" "It's a very simple matter." Bei Xianming moved closer and laughed softly. "If Brother Suyin meets me in the next competition, I hope that Brother Wu Yun will give up on the competition and not fight with me. How about that?" "Oh, why?" "Naturally, it's for the first place in Long Ao Nation's Mountain River list." Bei Xianming laughed. "Currently, half of the participants from Long Ao Nation have been eliminated, and only I, Bei Xianming, and you, Brother Wu Yun, who represents the Wang family. Brother Wu Yun, as long as you nod your head and agree to what I say, all these treasures that are worth 1,000,000 will all belong to you." "Is that so?" Suyin stood up, his hands caressing the treasures. He lowered his head and thought for a moment, then asked, "If I do not meet you in the next competition, what should I do?" "The treasures will still belong to you, Brother Wu Yun. Although I, Bei Xianming, have some strength, I have never thought of fighting my way into the Dragon Group and participating in a ranking competition as long as I can obtain the first place in Long Ao Nation's Mountain River list. My trip here will not be in vain. So it's like that." Suyin nodded his head. He looked at Bei Xianming, then retracted his hand and asked, "What if I reject? Brat, aren't you afraid of death?" Without waiting for Bei Xianming to speak, the people behind shouted angrily, "You think our young master Bei Xian is afraid of you? That is because we are giving you face. If you want to seek death, we don't mind sending you on your way. Don't be unable to differentiate good from bad. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." Bei Xianming raised his hand and said indifferently, "All of you shut up." His subordinates all stared at Suyin and then kept quiet. Bei Xianming turned his gaze and looked at Suyin, his mouth still hanging a faint smile. "Brother Wu Yun, you want to reject?" "What if I reject?" Suyun's expression did not change. "Then the result will be the same." The smile on Bei Xianming's face turned into a sneer. "I, Bei Xianming, am no longer the same as before. You truly think you can win against me? Ha, Brother Wu Yun, to speak impolitely, although you are still considered a person, but in my eyes, I, Bei Xianming, cannot tolerate your existence. If I want to kill you, it is as easy as flipping my palm. Maybe you don't understand now, but when you are at the competition, you will understand everything." He got closer, and the sneer on his face turned into a sinister smile. Hong Yin, to you, is an example. Suyin did not say anything. Everyone stared at him, and the entire place became quiet. Think about it properly. Bei Xianming laughed and said. Bei Xianming and the rest did not say anything, and quietly waited for Su Yun's reply. After a while, leave the things behind. Finally, Su Yun, who had been silent the entire time, spoke. Hearing that, Bei Xianming's face immediately revealed joy and laughed out loud. Seems like not only is brother Wu Yun's cultivation high, you are also an intelligent man. You are much more knowledgeable than Wang Zhongshan. Ha ha ha. All right, quickly go. Don't disturb my training. Su Yun urged impatiently. Bei Xianming did not dawdle. He cupped his fists towards Su Yun and immediately brought his subordinates and left. Very quickly, the cave became quiet again. Su Yun stood up and walked around the boxes, caressing the boxes with his fingers a few times, and then opened them up one by one. Inside, there were many good pills and ingredients. If he were to give gifts, he would try to give as few treasures as possible, because the treasures had to be suitable. If the treasures were not suitable, then it would backfire on him. Su Yun poured out all the ingredients in the boxes and went through them one by one. This Bei Xianming is truly rich. Although these things are not considered expensive, but there are so many of them, adding them up is not a small amount. Su Yun thought. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. His eyes moved and anxiously took out the purple cloud pill furnace from his storage ring. He rummaged through the ingredients, thought for a moment, then climbed down and started to carve something on the ground. Very quickly, an array formation appeared. He placed the furnace inside the array formation and started to concoct the ingredients. I came in too much of a rush and forgot to concoct some good pills for myself. The majority of the pills that Bei Xianming gave me are to assist in training. There are very few that can be used in battles, so I have to rely on myself to concoct them. But it's not too late now. There's so many ingredients, it should be enough. With that thought in his mind, he started to get busy. Following the gradual improvement of the competition, the following battles would become more and more intense. Because the number of participants would gradually decrease, the pressure on the competition grounds would lessen, and to ensure the fairness of the competition time and the rest time after the competition would be adjusted accordingly. After the end of the competition, there would be 5 to 7 days of rest, and from eagle to dragon, there would be at least a month's time. The cave flickered with light auras. The profound spirit chi was constantly being produced. The other people in the cave were all cultivating. Only Su Yun's cave was used for concocting pills. Time passed very quickly, and after an unknown period of time, a white-robed, white-faced spirit cultivator walked into the cave. Is participant Wu Yun here? The spirit cultivator stood at the entrance of the cave and shouted 3 times. Su Yun opened his eyes. He removed the spirit chi from the furnace, swallowed a pill, and walked out of the cave. When he saw the spirit cultivator, he immediately cupped his fists. Wu Yun is here. The 4th round of the eagle to elephant competition is about to begin. Participant Wu Yun, please head to the competition grounds quickly and wait for the competition to begin. The spirit cultivator said calmly. Chapter 281. From Eagle to Elephant. At this point, there were less than 1,000 contestants left. Almost everyone's cultivation was at least at the 3rd stage of the spirit soul realm, and all of them were not ordinary people. All those who were trying to fish in troubled waters or spectate the competition were all eliminated. These 1,000 participants were the true participants of the Mountain River list who were fighting and killing each other for the rankings. The Eagle promotion stage was no longer held under the huge statue in the valley, but moved to the engraved snow plains outside the valley. The engraved snow plains was a large and flat piece of land. There were no plants here, only large amounts of snow-white bricks. From afar, it looked like a scene after a heavy snowfall. This place was rather famous inside and outside of Chin Creek. There were already many large stages set up on the engraved snow plains, and in front of every stage, there were Chin Creek protectors, judges, and Chin Creek notaries standing guard. At the side of the stages, there were many seats for spectators. Arriving at the engraved snow plains, Su Yun used the imprint to find the designated stage and walked over. At this moment, the two sides of the arena were filled with spectators. Countless heads turned to look in the direction of the arena. When they saw the person who stepped into the arena, countless people's eyes lit up. It is actually Wu Yun. Looks like we've chosen the right place. This match will definitely be exciting. I wonder who Wu Yun will be fighting against later. Looking forward to it. The men and women were extremely excited. Some of them even stood up and shouted loudly at Su Yun, cheering him on. It seemed like Su Yun had already gathered a group of fans from the previous battle. Su Yun stabilized his chi, entered the stage, and nodded to the Chin Creek notary, and was about to step onto the stage. I never thought that I would be fighting against Brother Wu Yun. This is truly a blessing, To be able to exchange blows with an expert like Brother Wu Yun, I, Bei Xianming, am extremely fortunate, Just then, Bei Xianming's voice came out from outside the stage, causing everyone to raise their heads and look, only to see Bei Xianming leading his group of subordinates squeezing in. The crowd that had just quieted down immediately started buzzing again. Bei Xianming? Su Yun was startled. He never thought that he would meet this guy so quickly. What a coincidence. Young master, seems like the #1 in Long Ao Nation is yours for sure. The people behind Bei Xianming laughed softly. The heavens are helping me. It seems like I can still enter the elephant team. Not bad. Hee. Bei Xianming's face was full of smiles. He waved his fan and walked over. His expression was arrogant, as though victory was in his grasp, causing the people around him to frown. Crash! The two of them leaped onto the stage. Stand still. The referee walked between the two of them and began to read the rules. After the announcement of the rules, the referee glanced left and right and solemnly said, "Everyone, please get ready." Su Yun took a deep breath, took out the death sword, and pulled out the engraved dragon blade from the sword sheath. Bei Xianming stretched his body. He continued to wave his fan and smiled. Prepare? Prepare my ass. This young master will definitely take first place. He can't beat me. His words drew the ire of many people below the stage. Bei Xianming, aren't you too arrogant? A big-sized man stood up and pointed at him and shouted. We haven't even started fighting, and you are already speaking such arrogant words. Bei Xianming, do you really think you are #1 under the heavens? Since he dares to say such words, does he have a trump card? No matter what, Wu Yun, we support you. You must definitely defeat Bei Xianming. Many of them shouted out, their faces flushed red, their voices filled with excitement. I'm afraid I will have to disappoint you. Wu Yun will definitely lose to me. Isn't that right, Brother Wu Yun? Bei Xianming squinted his eyes and laughed at Su Yun. Su Yun did not say a word. He only held onto his swords and waited quietly. During the competition, you are not allowed to make any noise. Just then, the official stood up and shouted out loud. Everyone anxiously shut their mouths, and the entire stage immediately became quiet. Seeing that, the referee retreated a few steps, raised his hand up high, and bellowed. Are the two of you ready? Yes. We can start any time. Bei Xianming said lazily. That's good. The referee nodded his head, and then chopped down with his hand. Competition begin. With that said, everyone around the stage started to hold their breaths. So, in that moment, Su Yun, who was holding onto his swords, directly rushed towards Bei Xianming, his pure divine spirit qi surging out like a tornado. Bei Xianming's smile froze, his nerves twitched. Looking at the cold pupils under the mask, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. So. The two swords fiercely slashed down. Bei Xianming anxiously dodged because he was too hasty. He directly fell to the ground and fell flat on his face. Clang, clang. The two swords slashed on the ground, causing the ground to shatter. Seeing that, Bei Xianming's eyes opened wide. Cold sweat flowed down, and he immediately shouted, Wu Yun, what are you doing? Didn't we agree that you would admit defeat? Who the hell told you that I will admit defeat? Su Yun raised his swords and said, Why, you obviously accepted so many benefits from me. I only asked you to put down the things I never agreed to it. You're the idiot, and you blame me? Hearing that, Bei Xianming was so angry that he almost choked, his entire body trembling. Good. Good. Wu Yun, I never thought that you would actually trick me. Very good. But that is not a problem. Do you really think that I cannot win against you? Don't look down on me. With that said, Bei Xianming opened his fan, waving his arm. He fanned towards Su Yun, and a large amount of sharp blade qi shot out. That was swift wind spirit qi. Bei Xianming used the fan as a weapon, using qi as an attack. Although the fan could not directly injure people, it seemed to have the effect of stabilizing the swift wind spirit qi. So Bei Xianming's spirit qi release was extremely easy and powerful. Bei Xianming was an expert in long-range attacks. Because of his profound spirit qi attribute being swift wind spirit qi, his body was light and agile, his steps vigorous. He pulled a distance away from Su Yun and continuously waved his fan to release blade qi. Su Yun wielded both swords, staring at the incoming blade qi. He directly slashed down. Although there were many blade qi, Su Yun's speed was extremely fast. All of the blade qi were actually sliced apart by him. Not a single one was left. Seeing that, everyone below the stage and Bei Xianming sucked in cold air. Such a fast sword. Such an accurate sword. Young Master Bei Xian, it's my turn. Su Yun stabilized his body. Looking at Bei Xianming, who was slightly sluggish, he suddenly stacked both swords together. All of his spirit essences were activated. The Monarch Occult Force was activated. The Swift Wind Spirit Qi surged towards both swords like a torrential river. Then he waved his hands. So, a half-moon-shaped sword qi over 10 long shot out from both swords. One of it pierced in the ground. The other held up the sky, its imposing aura striking towards Bei Xianming. That scene looked as though it was going to split the heaven and earth apart. Bei Xianming's face changed, seeing the sword qi. He retreated a few steps. When had he ever seen such a scene before? Since he could not retreat, Bei Xianming was helpless. He could only clench his teeth and instigate his qi, intending to take it head-on. Heavenly Fan breaks heart qi. Bei Xianming roared. The fan in his hand danced quickly, creating a wall of wind. But the wall of wind was like a piece of paper. It was directly sliced into pieces by the sword qi. The sword qi pierced through and struck Bei Xianming's body, causing him to fly out and fall to the ground. A sinister-looking long blood mark appeared on his body, and a large amount of blood spurted out. Looking at him, he was not dead yet, but it was mostly because of the clothes he was wearing. It was actually a treasure and had negated the majority of the sword qi's damage. If not for the attack, anyone else would have been sliced into two. Su Yun did not hold back at all. He had activated the Monarch Occult Force. How terrifying was his technique? He held on to both swords and rushed forward, not giving Bei Xianming any chance to catch his breath. Bei Xianming, who was heavily injured, had activated an unknown treasure, causing the wounds on his body to release a green light and quickly recover. But before he could stand up, Su Yun's two swords slashed over again. The pure divine spirit qi on the sword tip was like a meat grinder, slashing down. Bei Xianming clenched his teeth and raised his fan to block. With a bang sound, Bei Xianming was instantly flung out of the stage, spitting out blood. He climbed back up with difficulty. Wu Yun, you asshole! Bei Xianming gasped for breath, his eyes staring angrily at the man who was walking over. He never thought that the man would actually play with him. He never thought that the man's cultivation would be so strong. It was completely out of his imagination. Bei Xianming sat up with difficulty. Looking in front of him, he suddenly laughed. Hee, but do you think you won? Without a trump card, do you think I would dare to participate in a Mountain River list? He said coldly, then quickly took out a gray stone from his storage ring, and after imbuing some profound spirit qi into the stone, he directly threw it over. Seeing the smooth surface of the stone with a large number of vein patterns, Su Yun's expression tensed up. Soul Stone. The stone suddenly released a roar. Following that, the stone exploded, and a warrior dressed in black armor with a spear in his hand appeared on the stage. The warrior was fully armed. His eyes were dark yellow. His tyrannical true divine spirit qi caused people to have difficulty breathing. Upon appearing, He stared at Su Yun like a tiger watching its prey. Kill him, Bei Xianming bellowed. Die! The Soul Stone warrior released a low growl like a beast, and then sprinted forward, causing the ground to tremble. Whoosh! The stone spear that seemed to be forged from granite smashed over fiercely. Su Yun threw both swords up, blocking the stone spear. Dong! An intense explosion blossomed, causing Su Yun to retreat a few steps. What an astonishing power! He activated the heavenly scale divine eye to look at the Soul Stone warrior, and was immediately shocked. A 5th stage spirit soul realm warrior. The Soul Stone was actually a 5th stage existence. What kind of high-grade Soul Stone was that? Using the word priceless to describe, it was not an exaggeration. This Bei Xianming was truly going all out to actually use such a treasure. Just a mere 5th stage, what was there to be afraid of? I'm 6th stage. His eyes were like an eagle, staring at the Soul Stone warrior. The monarch occult force in his body surged. True divine spirit chi burst forth, and then he rushed forward. Roar! The Soul Stone warrior released an imposing roar. The spear in his hand released a gray light, and then fiercely smashed the ground. Dong! The ground trembled like a small boat in a storm, swaying nonstop. But Su Yun's lower body was stable, like an unshakable mountain. He rushed forward, both swords fiercely slashing forward. Kacha! The Soul Stone warrior's shoulders were pierced. Ha! It is a 5th stage spirit soul realm true divine spirit warrior. Its defense is astonishing. You think your swift wind spirit chi can injure it? Dream on. Ha ha! Bei Xianming laughed maniacally. But in the next second, his smile froze. The two swords released a burst of spirit chi, like blades cutting into the warrior's body. With a kacha sound, the Soul Stone warrior suddenly broke into pieces. Its entire body split into pieces, like a broken porcelain bowl. It completely collapsed and died. Chapter 282. That's impossible. It must be an illusion. It must be a hallucination. Bei Xianming fiercely rubbed his eyes. He stared at Su Yun with his eyes wide open. He did not dare believe what was happening in front of him. True Divine Spirit Chi was specially used to counter Swift Wind Spirit Chi. True Divine Spirit Chi used Calmness to counter Swift Wind Spirit Chi. Using Steel to counter Swift Wind Spirit Chi was common knowledge in the continent. Under the same equipment, techniques, and cultivation, Swift Wind Spirit Chi cultivators would find it hard to win against True Divine Spirit Chi. No matter how weak the soldier was, it was impossible for him to be torn apart by Su Yun in 2 rounds. It could only mean one thing. Wu Yun's strength was far above the soldier. What cultivation level was that? Just then, a strange true divine spirit chi floated in the air. Bei Xianming sensed it, and his face changed. This spirit chi is not from the spirit stone. It's yours? Wu Yun, you can actually use true divine spirit chi? You train in 2 different types of spirit chi? Oh, you realized? Su Yun said, then stepped forward and rushed towards Bei Xianming. Bei Xianming had activated the spirit stone, but the consumption of his profound spirit chi was too great. He was unable to defend against Su Yun's full force attack. His lower abdomen was attacked again, and his entire being was kicked into the air. So the death sword released 10 swords in a flash, all of them using the sword hilt to attack. It was not fatal, but the power of the sword hilt struck Bei Xianming's body, causing him to be in extreme pain. It was extremely painful. Bei Xianming fell to the ground, spitting out blood. Before he could even catch his breath, his face was kicked by Su Yun. He was flung out and smashed into the ground, looking extremely miserable. Wu Yun, stop! Bei Xianming and his men below saw that and shouted anxiously. But why would Su Yun listen to them? He strode over and rushed to Bei Xianming's side, aiming for his arm, and directly stepped on it. Crack! The thick and sturdy arm was instantly crushed like a pancake. The ear-piercing sound of bones breaking pierced into the hearts of everyone below the stage like needles. So vicious. Judge! Bei Xianming's men rushed over and bellowed. Quickly get Wu Yun to stop. He is basically torturing my young master. Quickly get him to stop. What he's doing is breaking the rules. The judge looked at him expressionlessly, and said indifferently, "If you are unable to continue fighting, you can directly surrender and admit defeat." Participant Bei Xianming did not admit defeat, and there is no danger to his life, so participant Wu Yun does not violate the rules. That person was immediately silenced. But soon, the others had an idea. "Young master, quickly admit defeat. If this goes on, your cultivation will be destroyed by Wu Yun. Admit defeat." A few of them shouted at Bei Xianming. "Yes, I admit defeat." Bei Xianming, who had suffered from Su Yun's merciless torture, immediately understood. Su Yun's strength was too terrifying. He was not at the 5th stage of the Spirit Soul realm. He was most likely at the 6th stage. Against the 6th stage cultivator, Bei Xianming had no way of winning. And now that he was being beaten up, how could he have the strength to retaliate? Furthermore, Wu Yun clearly had the strength to deal with him, but was still wasting time here. Most likely, he was intentionally torturing him. Immediately, Bei Xianming used all his strength to shout, I admit." But just as Bei Xianming was about to speak, Su Yun suddenly kicked him in the mouth. Bang! Bei Xianming flew out again. His mouth was swollen, blood flowed out of his mouth, and he had no choice but to stop talking. "You!" Bei Xianming glared at Su Yun in anger. Then at this time, Su Yun kicked him again, aiming for his mouth. Poochie! Bei Xianming spat out blood and fell to the ground. Every time he was about to shout out, Su Yun's flying leg would kick him mercilessly, causing Bei Xianming to be unable to find his bearings, his mouth becoming a mess. He surrendered. "Judge, my young master surrendered." The people below couldn't bear to watch any longer. They started to shout loudly. But the judge did not move, as though he did not hear their shouts. In his ears, he was only listening to the two people on the stage. Bei Xianming, who was dizzy, had no strength to resist. He opened his mouth that was filled with blood and muttered with all his might, I fucking surrender." Bang! Bei Xianming flew out again. "Judge, I bang. I just wanted to surrender." Bang, bang, bang. The more Bei Xianming spoke, the more ruthless he got. He flew around the stage like a ball. In the end, he did not even have the strength to stand up. But Bei Xianming's current position was already very close to the judge. He opened his swollen eyes and looked at Su Yun, who was leaning towards him. He did not know where he got the strength from, but suddenly he turned and rushed towards the judge. Plop! Bei Xianming knelt in front of the judge and shouted with all his might, "Judge, So, just as Bei Xianming shouted, a long and sharp sword pierced towards him from behind. Whoosh! The sharp sword was like a dragon, wrapped with dense, pure divine spirit chi. As though it was going to pierce through the void, it was extremely terrifying. "Surrender, Poochie." Just as Bei Xianming shouted the word surrender, the sharp sword had already arrived and directly pierced through his chest. "Surrender." Woo! Bei Xianming's entire body trembled, his eyes darkened, and he immediately fainted from the pain. The sword had pierced through his chest. It was not fatal, but he had lost so much blood, and it was unknown if he could survive. Hearing that, the judge finally raised his hand. "The competition is over." He shouted loudly, and then shouted, "Participant Bei Xianming surrenders. The winner of the competition is participant Wu Yun." Good. Once the results were out, the spectators all around immediately erupted into cheers. There were even people clapping. Seems like Bei Xianming was not popular. Just that, what difference did it make if Bei Xianming surrendered or not? He had lost consciousness, and the judge would still end the competition. Seeing Bei Xianming, who had completely fainted and was covered in blood, many people could not bear to watch. The disparity was too big. Su Yun did not seem to have any injuries, or it could be said that Bei Xianming did not even have the chance to take out his powerful treasures and was completely suppressed by the opponent. A few spirit cultivators had already run up the stage and pulled Bei Xianming down and carried him away for treatment. Protest. Just then, shouts came out from Bei Xianming's group. Everyone turned to look, only to see a few men walking up and standing in front of the judge. They pointed at Su Yun and shouted, Judge, he intentionally killed people. I protest. Intentionally killed people? Yes, my young master no longer has the strength to retaliate. He actually used a killing technique. If that isn't intentionally killing people, then what is? Judge, you should immediately punish participant Wu Yun. That man shouted. With my judgment, participant Bei Xianming actually had the ability to dodge Wu Yun's attack, but he did not dodge in time. So according to logic, participant Wu Yun did not intentionally kill people. Furthermore, participant Bei Xianming is not dead yet. But my young master did it to surrender, and that's why he was lucky, and my young master is already in such a state, we don't even know if he is dead or alive. How can Wu Yun be innocent? That man shouted out with a lack of confidence. If Wu Yun is considered guilty, then what about the fight between Bei Xianming and Hong Yan? Just then, a male cultivator stood up and pointed at the man and questioned. That's right. Bei Xianming used his words to anger Hong Yan, not letting her surrender, and even using such a ruthless method against a female. It's only right that he ends up like this. Cultivator Wu Yun did well. Don't say that Cultivator Wu Yun only beat up Bei Xianming. Even if he killed Bei Xianming, we will support him. That's right, support him. A few hot-blooded men stood up and spoke with righteous indignation. This, Bei Xianming's subordinates saw that everyone was supporting Su Yun, and the pressure on them increased. A few of them did not even have the strength to refute, and seeing that it was useless, they could only run away dejectedly. Thank you. Su Yun nodded to the people around him, then jumped down the stage and turned to leave. On the stage, Su Yun's attacks on Bei Xianming were not as simple as just beating him up. Every kick of his was filled with profound spirit qi and was directly used on Bei Xianming's body. Adding the destruction of the last sword, Bei Xianming was already at the end of his rope and was on the verge of death. Su Yun would not hold back against Bei Xianming, ignoring the grudges at the entrance. Just the fact that he accepted Bei Xianming's benefits and did not cooperate with Bei Xianming to surrender had angered Bei Xianming. With Bei Xianming's personality, he would definitely not let Su Yun go. Since Bei Xianming was not a good person, Su Yun did not hold back and struck first to gain the upper hand and killed him. Very quickly, the matter of Wu Yun beating up Bei Xianming seemed to have grown wings. It quickly spread throughout the entire Mountain River List competition grounds. The people who were paying attention to the matter all cheered and praised Wu Yun, but the people who did not understand the matter went to ask around, and after understanding the cause and effect of the matter, they also praised Wu Yun. Wu Yun's name quickly spread, but at the same time, there were a few other names that also spread throughout the Mountain River List competition grounds. Bai Yin Shan, Wu Kimian, Xiao Yuan Ba, Mo Yi, and Chang Hong. Other than Bai Yin Shan and Wu Kinmian, the two ladies who used overwhelming strength to defeat their opponents, the other three displayed strength that surpassed ordinary participants and left a deep impression on everyone. And these 5 people were already listed as participants who would definitely enter the Dragon Group. As for Wu Yun, he was listed as one of the participants. Towards all of this, Su Yun did not care. His heart was always thinking about the pill furnace in his cave. Coming down from the stage, he received some recovery pills from the cultivators and anxiously ran back to his cave. But on the way, Brother Wu Yun, "Ha, well done, well done, ha ha ha." A burst of clear laughter came out. Wang Zhongshan and the rest were running over. It seemed like they had received the news as well. Brother Wu Yun, you are truly the best. This time, you have finally taken revenge for us. So many of our brothers died in Bei Xianming's hands, and this time, Bei Xianming was beaten half to death by Brother Wu Yun. It truly helped us vent our anger. Brother Wu Yun, well done, everyone said excitedly. All of their gazes were flickering, every word coming from their hearts. You guys don't have to be so courteous. After all, we are acquaintances, and furthermore, I do not have any good feelings towards Bei Xianming. Now that the revenge has been taken, everyone can relax, but come to think of it, Bei Xianming's people are still there. I do not know if they will take revenge, so everyone must be careful. And also, Hong Yin sent a few more people to look after her. wait for a chance, and quickly return to Long Ao Nation. Su Yun said, "We are not in a rush to return. We want to see Brother Wu Yun fight his way into the dragon group." Wang Zhongshan laughed. Su Yun laughed, but did not say a word. Wang Zhongshan and the rest had lost their qualifications, and since they had nothing to do, they went around to watch the competition. They did not dare disturb Su Yun, and after chatting for a while, they bade farewell. Su Yun quickly returned to his cave. Just that, before he even stepped into the cave, he could smell an intoxicating fragrance in the air. "This is?" Su Yun was startled. He remembered that before he left, he had set up an array formation around the cave, blocking the fragrance of the pill furnace from leaking out. Why is the smell leaking out? Did someone barge into my cave without permission? Thinking about that, Su Yun's face flashed a look of anger. In the Sky Martial continent, no matter who it was, no one could casually barge into another's cultivation grounds or cave, because that meant blatant disregard and provocation. Chapter 283. Su Yun quickly ran into the cave, only to feel that the fragrance in the air was getting denser. It was the fragrance of a pill that was refined, and someone must have opened the pot. If not, the smell would not be so dense. "Who is it?" Su Yun held onto the death sword and quickly rushed inside. He roared with an angry look on his face. He was not afraid of the matter blowing up. Even if it did, he was the one in the right, and the Chinkri protectors would most likely help him. His speed was very fast, and in a short while, he reached the end of the cave. At the end, the array that maintained the temperature of the furnace had stopped, and the cauldron was already opened, with waves of white mist chi drifting out. The surroundings of the cauldron was quiet. There was not a single person in sight, as though no one had been here before. Su Yun's expression tensed up. He quickly ran to the cauldron and looked inside, only to see that all the pills inside the cauldron were quietly lying there. What's going on? Su Yun did not understand. Could it be that someone was here to steal the pills? Suddenly, a sound came out from behind him. Su Yun's expression tensed up. He immediately turned his body and waved the death sword. Clang! The clear and crisp sound of the sword exploding out, followed by the two figures retreating. Su Yun felt as though his arm was about to break. The opponent's strength was extremely strong, and the chi was so strong that it was shocking. Who could it be? He stabilized his body and looked over, only to see a person dressed in snow white like a fairy standing in front of him. That person's appearance was truly captivating. Her eyes were like the stars, her pink lips were tender and alluring, and her black hair that hung down to her willowy waist swayed gently. Her face was flawless, and her entire person was flawless. Her every movement, every breath, seemed to make the world dim without light. What kind of beauty was this? Such a person should not even exist in the world. Looking at the person in front of him, Su Yun's mind became sluggish, only regaining his senses after a while, and subconsciously called out, "Long Xianli?" She did not wear a veil, but even if she did, Su Yun would still know who it was. Long Xianli's beautiful face flashed a trace of anger. She clenched her teeth, suddenly unsheathed the white sword in her hand, and directly pierced toward Su Yun. "Go and die. Limitless." An ice-cold voice sounded out in the cave. Oh, Su Yun did not expect that Long Xianli would appear here, and even more did not expect that she would draw her sword against him, so he did not have the time to react. Unexpectedly, Long Xianli's snow-white sword thrusted over, but just as it neared Su Yun's heart, the sword tip turned sideways and directly pierced through his armpit. Su Yun, seeing that, Long Xianli became angry. Her eyes filled with tears. "Why aren't you dodging? Why are you dodging? Aren't you afraid I'll kill you? You didn't kill him, did you?" Su Yun smiled, extended his hand, and took off the mask on his face. Immediately, a pale and demonic face appeared in front of Long Xianli's eyes. The current Su Yun's eyes were almost pure black, like two abysses, causing people to be unable to extricate themselves from them. His face was even more frighteningly white, as though he was a heavily injured person. Luckily, his face was still handsome and could still lock onto some eyeballs. But Long Xianli was secretly shocked and asked, "No, how can you be like this? It's been like this since we returned from the evil realm. Su Yun laughed bitterly. Evil realm. Long Xian Li's eyes trembled. You went to the evil realm? When did you go to the evil realm? After the battle at Blossom Heart Valley, I was chased by the spirit demon Dao and unintentionally entered the evil realm. Su Yin said softly. Thinking back on his trip to the evil realm, it truly made him sigh. If not for his luck, maybe he would have really died in the evil realm. So in this period of time, you were actually in the evil realm, I thought. Long Xianli bit her lips, her eyes drooping, her beautiful face revealing a complicated expression. You thought I was dead? Su Yin laughed and asked. Humph, it's better if you're dead. Long Xianli's face suddenly turned cold and snorted. You killed our immortal sword sex clan elder, Shenhong. I cannot live under the same sky as you. I'm happy that you're dead. Shenhong. Su Yun's smile froze, and he shook his head. I killed her. That's because she killed my master, so I will definitely not forgive her. Your master? When did clan elder Shun Hong kill your master? Su Yun said. He was only left with a spirit body. He was stored in a treasure on my body. That day at Wushuang Ju Peak, Shun Hong suddenly made a move and wanted to kill me. Luckily, Master intervened and saved me. But how could he, who was only a spirit body, withstand Shen Hong's attack? Because of that, Master fell. If I don't kill Shen Hong, how can I be satisfied? Hearing that, Long Xianli was suddenly enlightened. No wonder he seemed to be crazy that day. It was so weird, so there were so many reasons. Xianli, you want to kill me to take revenge for Shen Hong? Su Yin suddenly asked. Of course. Long Xianli's words were firm. All right then. Su Yin opened up both his hands, closed his eyes, and looked as though he was waiting to be slaughtered. Long Xianli's bright eyes congealed and asked, What are you doing? That time at Wushuang Ju Peak, I was surrounded and attacked. If not for you, maybe I wouldn't have been able to leave so easily. I owe you, and now I'm paying you back. You humph. Do you think this will end it? Long Xianli did not make a move, but her flirtatious face became even colder. Su Yun, this matter will not end just like that. I will definitely take revenge for clan elder Shen Hong and wash away the humiliation of our immortal sword sect. I want to defeat you fair and square. This is the Mountain River list. Since you are participating in the Mountain River list, then come up to the stage to fight. I don't believe you dare to use the Heavenly Crystal and Monarch Occult Force on the stage. Once people find out, the matter of you being limitless will be exposed, and at that time, you will die even more miserably. And if I don't use these powerful treasures, why would my immortal sword sect fear you? Oh, Su Yin suddenly moved closer. Looking at the dreamy and beautiful face, he asked, Xianli, do you plan to go up and fight with me? Seeing the big face so close to her, Long Xianli was startled. Her cheeks flushed red. She retreated half a step, turned her head, and snorted. I did not participate in the competition, and I do not have the qualifications to participate. How can I fight with you? The one to fight with you is naturally the genius of our sect. Su Yin, you better be prepared. Oh, is that so? Su Yin laughed. Suddenly, he rolled his eyes and said, Xianli, since it's like this, I can't escape, so I will accept it. But if it's like this, isn't it too boring? Why don't we add some stakes? Stakes? Long Xianli was startled. What stakes? Very simple. Su Yun said, How many disciples from your immortal sword sect have advanced? 2. Yin Shan and Kai Feng. All right then. How about this? If in the following battles I meet the 2 of them and win against them, then you have to promise me one thing. If I lose to them, then I will go to Shen Hong's grave to apologize. How about that? Su Yin said seriously. Hearing that, Long Xianli's eyes congealed. Are you serious? Xianli, you and I have known each other for a period of time. Don't you know what kind of person I am? Su Yin displayed a righteous look. Long Xianli snorted. She did not buy it and asked, Then what's your condition? My condition is not too much. If I win against your 2 immortal sword sect disciples, you just have to kiss me once. After saying that, he pointed at his pale but thick-skinned face and laughed. Long Xianli was so high and unattainable, with the attitude of a holy maiden. If she were to kiss him, the feeling would be unimaginable. Suyin thought in his heart, who knew that when he said that, it was like a needle piercing into a woman's heart. Long Xianli immediately flew into a rage. Her delicate face was flushed red. Her chest was heaving up and down. Her eyes were burning. She clenched her teeth and actually raised her sword to attack Suyun. Shameless person, you actually dare to disrespect me. I'll kill you. This time, Suyun did not dare guarantee that Long Xianli would not kill him, so he immediately turned and dodged. So, the white sword brushed past his chest and pierced through his blade master clothes. Suyun's heart jumped and anxiously said, Xianli, you don't dare? Why wouldn't I dare? Long Xianli said angrily. Then you don't have confidence in your disciples? Humph! You think our immortal sword sect is afraid of you? Long Xianli stopped her frail body and stared coldly at Suyun and angrily said, Good. Suyun, I'll promise you, if you win against my disciples, I'll agree to your request. But if you lose, you must kneel in front of clan elder Shanhong's grave and kowtow to apologize. Naturally, no problem. Suyun heaved a sigh of relief. Let's wait and see. Long Xianli snorted and angrily turned and left with her sword. Looking at Long Xianli's alluring back, the corner of his mouth rose into a strange arc, but it was just a spur of the moment, and he treated it as a joke with Long Xianli and did not mind. After Long Xianli left, Suyun anxiously turned and ran towards the cauldron. Taking out the pills from the cauldron, Suyun glanced at them and impatiently placed them on the ground. He crushed them again, took out the ingredients to process them, and then activated the erase seal on the cauldron and threw all the processed ingredients into it, and then started to refine more pills. He dared to guarantee that Long Xianli had definitely checked the effects of the pills, but regretfully, they were not finished products and were ingredients for the pills he wanted to refine. The effects of the ingredients were not considered strong and could not enter anyone's eyes. There are many experts in Qin Creek, adding the unfathomable Qin Creek protectors. Even with the heavenly crystal, sprite shadow, and monarch occult force protecting my body, it is still difficult to contend against them. Causing trouble here is equivalent to seeking death, so I need to think of a way to escape. If I can obtain the Through Heaven's mirror, that would be for the best, but if I can't, I need to leave this place as soon as possible. I have not found Qing air yet. I cannot lose my life here. Suyun closed the cauldron and muttered in his heart. In the past few days, he had been staying in the cave, dealing with the matters of the cauldron. But very quickly, the competition started again. Is participant Wu Yun around? Please hurry to the engraved snow plains. The elephant to lion group competition is about to begin. The cultivator's voice resonated in the cave. After fighting the lion and elephant group, he would be able to enter the dragon group and would have the qualifications to participate in the Mountain River List ranking competition. He would have the qualifications to enter the Sacred Palace. Chapter 284. Elephant to Lion. Currently, there were less than 300 contestants left. The Sky Marshal continent was huge, so how terrifying was the ratio of 300 contestants? Out of these 300 people, every single one of them was worthy of being called a genius. All of them were exceptional geniuses that could only be found once in a million. Fighting till here, even with Suyun's 6th-stage spirit soul realm cultivation, he did not dare to be careless. Although his current opponents were all around the 4th stage, the treasures on them were definitely not ordinary. Grooming a genius was something that only the almighty beings of the big powerhouses could do, and these existences did not lack good treasures. Walking into the engraved snow plains, nearing the competition grounds, he could hear the clamor coming from the competition grounds. For the last 3 rounds of competition, Qin Creek would be temporarily open to the public, and more cultivators would enter the engraved snow plains to watch the battle of geniuses. Adding the eliminated participants, the engraved snow plains had more than 10,000 people seated, all of their breaths converging into a strong qi flow. When Suyun stepped into the competition grounds, the other stages were already fighting intensely, The spectators' gazes were all fixated on the people on the stages. Su Yun looked over to see a beautiful figure dressed in Blade Master clothes on the adjacent stage. Wielding a sword, she unleashed a torrent of attacks on the people in front of her. Bai Yin Shan, the swift wind spirit chi lingering around her body was endless, her expression focused and meticulous. Her sword attacks were fast and decisive. Her killing was fierce and overbearing. Her opponent was completely suppressed, regardless of whether it was cultivation, spirit chi, techniques, or aura. The opponent was weaker than her. After not seeing her for a period of time, Bai Yin Shan's strength seemed to have increased by a lot. She is truly a proud daughter of the heavens. No one can compare to her. Su Yin thought. Participant Wu Yun, enter the arena. Just then, the judge shouted out, causing the spectators' attention to be drawn back. When they saw Su Yun walking into the competition grounds, many of the spectators who had watched Su Yun's battles all started to shout out excitedly. Look, Wu Yun is here. Wu Yun, you must definitely win. I want to see if this Wu Yun is truly as godly as the rumors say. The competition grounds were in an uproar, the bells ringing out nonstop. Wang Zhongshan, Li Qing, and the rest also sat on the seats and waved at Su Yun. Because Qing Creek was open to the public, Wang Zhongshan called in the guards that were stationed outside and ordered them to guard Hong Yin, while he himself came to watch the competition. Although they had lost, but the following competition was still very attractive to them. Amidst the roars, Su Yun walked into the center of the fighting grounds. All eyes were on him. Next, we invite participant Sun Ji Miao. The referee's voice rang out again. As soon as he finished speaking, more people came in from outside the competition area. There were two people, one tall and one short, one muscular and one skinny. The skinny one had long hair, while the muscular one had a buzz cut. Both of them were dressed in grayish-black robes, and their steps were steady as they walked inside. When the two of them entered, the cheers from the audience grew louder. Sun Ji Miao? Oh my god, that's Sun Ji Miao who defeated Gu Yuan Xian in 5 moves? I never thought that Wu Yun would actually meet him. Gu Yuan Xin? Sun Ji Miao? Who is it? Idiot, you don't even know who Gu Yuan Xian is? He is a peerless genius from our northern continent's Azure Sky region. It is said that on his way here, he did not even take more than an incense stick worth of time to exchange blows with his opponents, and was invincible. Everyone thought that he would be able to smoothly enter the Dragon Group and participate in the Mountain River List ranking competition, but who knew that in the Eagle to Elephant competition? He met Sun Ji Miao, and guess what happened? He was killed by Sun Ji Miao in 5 moves? Fuck, how did you know? Didn't you just say it, idiot? Oh, is that so? But from what you said, Wu Yun is in trouble. Gu Yuan Xian is a genius, but he was easily defeated by Sun Ji Miao. Doesn't that mean that Sun Ji Miao is a genius among geniuses? TSK. I wonder how many moves Wu Yun can take. Don't look at how easy it was for Wu Yun. Gu Yuan Xian is an example. In this Mountain River list, who knows how many experts there are? No one can predict what will happen next. What are geniuses? Only absolute geniuses can suppress them. Let us watch seriously and see if we can learn anything from their exchange. Su Yun looked at the two of them, only to see that they were talking to each other, and did not even look at him. Until the two of them walked to the side of the stage, did they stop. Do your best, junior brother, the robust man said indifferently, and then walked to the seats at the side. The long-haired, skinny man smiled and jumped into the fighting area. The two of them entered the stage and stood facing each other. The referee walked into the court, and the notary also started to speak. The 5th round is from Elephant to Lion. Participant Wu Yun from Long Ao Nation Sky Dragon City's Wang family will fight against Southern Continent's Profound Sky Sect's disciple Sun Ji Miao. The two participants, please prepare yourselves. Profound Sky Sect? Su Yun's heart jumped. He stared at the skinny man in front of him, a look of anger flashing past his eyes under the mask. Oh, do you have any hatred toward the Profound Sky Sect? Sun Ji Miao laughed and said. Su Yun frowned. Why do you say that? Because I can see a trace of anger in your eyes. Your observational skills are not bad. Su Yun took a deep breath his eyes regaining their profoundness. Your strength is not bad too. Sun Ji Miao laughed. Su Yin did not reply. He took out the engraved dragon blade from the sword sheath. Holding the death sword in one hand and the engraved dragon blade in the other, he stared at his opponent with full concentration. Sun Ji Miao also took out his weapon, but it was not a blade or sword, but a pair of gloves. The gloves were brownish yellow, and on the surface there were many symbols the size of rice grains, densely packed together, causing people's scalps to go numb. Sun Ji Miao activated his profound spirit qi and assumed a stance like a ferocious tiger about to attack. Our Profound Sky sect is not a third-rate sect. Our sect has provoked many people. You're called Wu Yin, right? I do not know what grievances you have with our Profound Sky sect, but today, I will make you give up on us. I will make you completely give up on your hatred towards us. The corner of his mouth raised into a sinister smile. I will use my absolute strength to make you give up. Su Yin did not say anything, but the craziness and coldness in his eyes became denser and denser. Below the adjacent stage, Long Xian Li had her own seat set up. There were many sects participating in the Mountain River list, and to protect their geniuses, the sects would usually send powerful clan elders to lead the team. So not only were there participants, there were also many tyrants. In the previous few matches, many tyrants did not attend, but in the next few matches, no one was absent. After all, the last two matches were related to whether or not their disciples would be able to enter the Mountain River list. It was related to the glory and benefits of the sect. So why would they leave? On the stage, Bai Yin Shan was still intensely fighting with her opponent, but Long Xianli could not help but turn her gaze over and stare at the person on the stage. Suddenly, her entire body quivered, and she regained her senses. What's wrong with me? Why am I always thinking about Su Yin? This man killed clan elder Shen Hong. His crime is unforgivable. If he goes to apologize, then so be it. But if he does not, I must definitely teach him a lesson and seek justice for clan elder Shen Hong. Long Xianli secretly guarded her state of mind and thought. On the other side, Wu Kenmian gasped for breath as he walked down the stage and walked towards the two masked men not far away. Then, the two of them looked towards the stage. Seeing that, Wu Kenmian also looked over, and when she saw the person on the stage, her eyes immediately squinted. Isn't that the person who saved Long Xianli? She chuckled softly. He's called Wu Yin. He's from the Wang family of Sky Dragon City in Long Ao Nation. The masked man by the side said lightly, but why have I never heard of him before? It seems like he came out from nowhere. You must be careful. This person's strength is not ordinary. If he wins against Sun Ji Miao, you will not be able to meet him. You must definitely pay attention. Our goal is to enter the Dragon Group and enter the Mountain River list ranking competition. Before that, you cannot lose. That naturally won't be a problem. Wu Kenmian hugged her chest and laughed. I am not like a certain someone. Without even fighting, he gave up his qualifications. Seems like everything depends on me. With that said, the masked man's face congealed. He was slightly annoyed. He snorted, but did not say anything. Clang! Just then, a clear sound came out from the stage. Following that, the judge shouted loudly, "Fight start!" In that moment, the atmosphere in the fighting area immediately tensed up. Everyone turned their gazes over, and at that moment, some of them even held their breaths. Then, when the fight started, the two of them did not directly rush up to attack, but instead circled around each other and started to attack from a distance. Sun Ji Miao brandished his gloves. One fist wind after another blew over, while Su Yun quickly swung his engraved dragon blade, releasing sword chi. Fighting was not a brainless fight. Su Yun and Sun Ji Miao had never seen each other's fights before and did not understand each other's attacking techniques and patterns. If they were to recklessly fight, they would most likely be at a disadvantage. Initially, Su Yun was still able to maintain his rationality, but thinking that the man was from the Profound Sky sect, the sect that caused all of this, his heart surged with anger, and the blood in his body started to burn. If not for the Profound Sky sect, why would the Su family make a move on Qing? If not for the Profound Sky sect secretly making a move, How would I end up in such a state? How would Qing be missing? The more Su Yin thought about it, the angrier he got. He wanted to tear the man in front of him into pieces. He wanted to vent out all of the hatred and anger in his heart. Just then, a strange power flowed through every single meridian in his body. Sinji Miao walked and waved his fists. His steps were light and agile like a dancer, and his hands were like cannonballs that struck out crazily, causing explosions to form around Su Yin. Damn it! Finally, Su Yin did not bother with him anymore. His eyes darkened. He suddenly took a step forward and directly rushed toward Sun Ji Miao. The explosive spirit chi and uncontrollable powerful force made him look like a tank that could not be stopped. Seeing that his opponent was rushing over without thinking, Sun Ji Miao immediately laughed out loud. Wu Yun, I was still thinking how powerful you were. To think that you would be so impatient. Seems like you're only SOSO after all. With that said, Sun Ji Miao's hands suddenly smashed down fiercely. Heaven falls and earth rends. A ruthless roar exploded out. Sun Ji Miao's frail body actually released a powerful force that caused people to be shocked. The force that came out from his fist struck the ground, causing the entire stage to shatter, the surging force surging towards Su Yin. The spectators all around all swayed left and right. They were all shattered by the force. That attack, it was truly earth-shattering. Then, Su Yin, who was rushing toward Sun Ji Miao, suddenly felt his chest heat up. He lowered his legs and activated the monarch occult force, causing an even more tyrannical true divine spirit chi to explode out. What? Sun Ji Miao frowned. He felt that it was inconceivable. A sword user, could it be that he had true divine spirit chi? Before he could think further, a leg fiercely kicked towards him. Sun Ji Miao anxiously blocked. He raised both his arms and blocked the leg, but the leg seemed to be intentional. Using brute force, it sent Sun Ji Miao flying into the air. Shit! Sun Ji Miao's heart sank. He never thought that the sword user would actually have such a strong force. He anxiously touched the storage ring on his belt. Su Yun's face under the mask was extremely sinister. He immediately raised the engraved dragon blade and fiercely slashed towards Sun Ji Miao's body in the air. He did not have the slightest bit of mercy. He attacked with the mentality of completely killing the opponent. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.